What's up, guys? Tonight we're going to be talking about the Lev 60 batteries, a little bit of stuff I want to talk about there. We're going to talk about some sound pressure stuff, some SPL stuff, other building tricks and tips. If you guys have any questions about car audio stuff in general, I'll do my best to answer those if you put them in the comments. If you are watching this later after it's not live anymore, you go ahead and throw those questions down in the comment section on the video, and I will get to them and answer them. Or some of my other car audio enthusiast people will jump in there and answer those. So let's get this baby started. Let's do it. Yeah. Going on with my thingamajigger. Oh, geez, that's it. Wow. Things are happening up in here now. How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing this fine Friday evening? And I know I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, but that's how we do it. I just kind of keep it hanging loose. I don't like hanging tight. I like hanging loose. Um, I want to show y'all something before we get going, though. I want to switch over to a different feed. I want to show y'all something kind of cool. Just give me just 1 second here. I'll get to the questions and everything here in a minute. Y'all keep stacking those questions up, though, because I'll go through them all. And I like to have a pile when I start. Y'all check this shit out. Now this is earlier today. Me and my boy Troy were out putting together an idea in his trunk, and you guys are going to see what we're doing. I got a video that's going to be coming up. You'll see how things are going with the trunk build. You remember Troy? I did the thing in his car with the box and the coming through from the trunk, and we built that frame in there to seal it off so that all the air pressure stays on the inside. Well, we're going to work on his trunk some to get all that straightened out, and I've been working on it. But check this little video clip out. This is me with the engine off on the Tahoe. It's just off the batteries. This is me playing 24 hertz with both doors open and the engine off. Y'all check this shit out. This is crazy. It ain't running. We got it turned off right now. It's all battery.
like a blacktop twister. Glass vibrate till it blur your picture. Hurricane hum in the box I'm building. Every brace wall got a story I'm gilding. Breathe that dust, it'll pave your lungs. And vortex spinning like a saw blade buzzing. Storm on deck when the air start pushing. Waves so deep, make the asphalt cushion.
Now, what I'm going to say about that was y'all saw how them subs was moving, right? That was 24 hertz at full power in there. No engine, but we had full power on the bass knob, full volume on the system. I was giving them subs a plate full of beans with very, very little control, but they were staying in control, completely in control, strictly from the motor and suspension of the subwoofers. Those Oblivion version 2s are some badass subwoofers. So I'm going to look at some of the questions and we're going to talk about a few other things and go down through here. So let's see what's popped up. Joe Daddy is in the house. Joe Daddy, he is Joe Daddy. Keep that in mind. Bobby B is in the house, y'all, so keep it straight. Richard is in the house. Rich, I don't know. That's a long name. Rich is in the house. Travis Davis is in the house. What's up, man? Let's get how everybody's doing tonight from Rich. Joe Daddy said he has a question. Uh-oh. He has a lot of questions. And I'm glad, by the way, I saw Joe Daddy before I answer your question. I did see your question about your port and not blowing wind and such. And I was going to answer that, but I said, well, I bet you one of my people will answer it for him. And they did. So I wasn't ignoring you, brother. I was just wanting to wait and see if somebody else wanted to answer that question or not. I'll do that sometimes, but I did see the question and I would have answered it if they hadn't already covered me. And here's the real answer to your question. Your port technically shouldn't be blowing any air. It's just a plug, an air plug that moves mass. It's like an air subwoofer, right? So as long as it's staying in the port, it's not really blowing any air. It's just moving the air in the vehicle the same way the speakers do. That port acts like a passive radiator. It's sort of the backside of the subwoofer, if you will, but it's playing like it's a subwoofer in that hole. So it shouldn't technically blow air. It should move air in the room. If it is blowing air out of the port, that's because you're either above or below. Well, technically, you're below your port's tuning. Once you start blowing air out, when you can feel wind coming out of your port, you're playing below your tuning. And I should do a demo explaining that in my vehicle. I can actually show you that process in my Tahoe. Whenever I'm playing inside of my frequency band, I can float a flag or a towel in my port. It'll float in the port. But as soon as I drop it below that frequency that my port's bottom of my port's tuning, it'll blow it out into the cab because it's no longer a port. Now it's a leaky box. So just saying. Okay. Now moving along. Dubby is in the house. What's up, Dubby? Oh, let me answer your question. I didn't answer your question. Okay. So whenever I turn my volume up on the subs, they pop and the Bluetooth amp turns off. But when I turn it down after it connects, Bluetooth is back to playing right again. Probably don't have enough power going to your little amplifier. It's probably running out of power and turning off. Most likely. That's my guess right off the bat, is that your power supply going to your amp cannot produce enough power for the amp to do the job it's being asked to do at the volume it's being asked to do it at. So you either need to upgrade your little power supply, add a battery to it so it can actually pull from the battery when it peaks, or turn it down a little bit. That's my best answer based on what you told me. Debbie says, good day, good day, good day. You guys are all so awesome. Bobby's. All that bass makes Joe Daddy bricked up. Joe Daddy, I wish I could give you a demo in that Tahoe. You'd probably straight up croak, man. You'd flip the hell out hearing that. It's pretty intense. Sup, Dino Man, man. What's up, man? Who really knows competition rules? Why is nobody ever talking about competition? Well, the competition rules, the reason nobody knows competition rules really is because they change every freaking year. You get some pansy ass people that want to slip into a bracket they're not supposed to be in, but they beg and plead, and then the guys let them in, and they have to change the rules slightly, or you'll have somebody that's in a bracket that gets pushed down a bracket or pushed up a bracket because other people in that bracket are bitching about them being too loud to be in that bracket. Blah 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 blah. And when you have a whole bunch of whiny little bitches complaining to the people that make the rules, and these are all people that pay money to go compete in these competitions, they have to try to make all the whiny little bitches happy. So therefore, nobody, including the judges, knows the rules until that year whenever they come out. But they're all listed on the website, and they're very complicated. I usually just pick up the rules whenever I show up to compete. I'm like, what class do you want me in? Because from one competition to another, I don't know. One judge can interpret the rules one way, another judge can interpret the rules another way. It's a big shit show is what it is. And it don't matter what organization you're going to experience this shit show. It happens every freaking event. One judge may let you in one class where another judge may say you cannot be in that class. I don't know what's going on. And that's why I don't do a lot of competing, because it's stupid. It's cool, but it's also stupid. It's not simple like it was in the 90s. That said, it's still a lot of fun. And I still go. And I still do compete in something. I'll compete in some class. Usually. Joe Daddy said, they definitely helped me out, brother. Yep. I already know. At least you've been honest. Yeah, always. That's me, bro. I'm always honest and straightforward. And I don't ignore comments. I may not answer it right away, but I check, just to understand, I check my video comments dozens of times every single day. And as long as it's a new comment, right, it's the beginning of a comment string, I will see it. If it's a comment on another comment that's already a string started, like you're responding to somebody else, and then that person comes back and says something else, I may not ever catch those. It may take me a week or two to catch those, because then I have to go through and turn my filters off and just read a whole bunch of comments. But whenever it's a brand new comment on a video, the beginning of a line, I will see that comment. And I'll see it the same day you put it up. I may not respond to it. Like when I first wake up in the morning, I'll look and see a whole bunch of comments. I typically don't respond. My brain's not working right yet. So I'll say, okay, I'll get back on them later. And I will. Some point in time during that day, I'll go through and answer every comment. So, yes. And I'm always honest. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you're actually blowing air out, look, man, here's how you do it. Play your note. If you can take a little piece of a napkin or something really, really light with a lot of surface area, like a napkin, okay, and put it inside your port. If the napkin just kind of stays in there and vibrates, that's in tuning. But if the napkin is leaning out and blowing out away from the port, then you're playing too low for that port. So that's how you know. That's one easy way to find out. And you'll notice it if you use a sine wave generator, where you can make the sine wave go lower and lower and lower, like, right? You make it do that, you can see at the exact point where that thing starts blowing out, you just lost your port. You now have a leaky box at that frequency. Corn nut, Bobby B said, hell yeah. Produce more power by adding a battery. A nice sealed, very important, sealed, zero maintenance AGM battery will work fine for what you're doing. So find a nice sealed battery. It can't be one with the caps that you can take off and fill more water in it. Can't be like that. It's got to be completely sealed to where nothing can get in or out. That kind of battery you can put inside the house and put your power supply on it, and use the battery as a buffer between the power supply and your amplifier that you're using. That'll work until you start pulling more current than you can store in the battery. It'll work for a while, depending on how much power you're trying to make. Oh yeah. Yep, I just explained that, so you'll know. Just go from the power supply to the battery, and then from the battery to you ain't even got to disconnect it. You can run the power supply to the amplifier, then take those two wires where they're connected and put them on the battery, and then you'll have the battery in the circuit. So your power supply is acting like your alternator, and your battery is being a battery. But yeah, it'll work until the battery gets drained, and then you're gonna have to let it charge the battery back up. But that will work. That's exactly what I'm doing for my system that I play every single day, all day long. It's powered up all the time. I'm doing exactly, telling you to do how to do exactly what I'm doing. I can't pick this stuff up back here, but I have. Shit, maybe I'll show you guys. I don't know if my camera can reach over here without disconnecting or something, but let me try. Hang on a second. I'm gonna try. It's a bit of chaos, but we're gonna take a stab at it and see if I can reach it. Give me a second. See if you guys can see down here. Nope, it's already trying to disconnect. No, we can't do that. Sorry. The next show, I'll have some video. I'll take some video footage of this and I'll have it and I'll show it to you guys. That's the best way to do it. Sorry, I can't do it right now. It's already complaining as soon as I tried to move that camera. El Fuego from the Pacific Northwest. What is up? What is up? What is up? Bobby B always reminds you of Fuego. All right. T. Corley says, I had a question and I wanted some opinions on, but now I can't remember. What you should do is walk to the refrigerator in your kitchen and open the door and stand there and look in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes. Then turn around and walk back wherever you were and sit down. You always remember what it was if you do that. I don't care what you forget. If you do that thing I just said, as soon as you sit back down, you'll remember what it was you wanted to ask. Promise you, it works every damn time. Joseph said, I made it. Didn't get the notification. Sitting in an empty Kia. Oh, man. Yeah. The empty Kia. About to cut the baffles out. Well, I've been watching y'all. I've been watching Joseph's stuff. Y'all want to see some of what Joseph's working on? Hang on a minute. I know I have permission to use this stuff. So give me just 1 second and I'll whip it up. We'll whip it up. We'll whip up this one video here. Y'all can check this out. All right. Let me turn my volume, turn my mic down, and then there we go.
Prepare for the demo. Please hold on to loose articles. Please remain seated. Please let CAE know if you wish to stop. Please don't open the door during the demo. Now, let's do this. Welcome to the spot where the music come alive. Cardio enthusiasts, let the bass drive. From the wall to the drums to the big and small. Break it down, crank it up and smash it through the wall. Subs hitting low like thunder in the street. Demo after demo, can you handle that heat? We talking box builds and ports tune tag. Get your system set up so it sounds just right. Next, snapping ground, cracking back, breaking bass. You can feel it in your head as it's slapping at your face. Going full send, turn the knob to the right. Subwoofer pumping, we can do this all night. Foot stomping, amplified subwoofer round up. Everybody here getting down from the ground up. Bass stomping ground, shaking big face gun. We ain't gonna stop till the crowd is done. Ain't no slacking, we go full send. No backtracking and the frame's gonna bend. Take it to the streets, let the good vibe flow. Dropping that bass wherever we go. Circling the light and the next start snapping. Take a double take of my die-home Mac and big bass drop and the hair tricks fly. Little bit more when the voice goes frank. Neck snapping, ground cracking, back breaking bass. You can feel it in your ear as it's slapping at your face. Going full sin, turn the knob to the right. Subwoofer pumping, we can do this all night. Foot stomping, amplified, subwoofer round up. Everybody here getting down from the ground up. Bass thumping, ground shaking,
Joseph ain't
bass
messing
drum.
around,
We
man.
don't stop till the crowd is done.
Y'all watch that bag. Top of the car.
Prepare.
That's a lot of pressure in there, man. That is a lot of pressure in that room. Yeah, the amp rack looks good. You're right. Oh, let's see here. Dope as shit. I'm reading through the comments trying to figure out where I need to be. Let's see here. I did it. I did do it right. Yes, you did do it right. I'm making a reference to that comment right there. Absolutely. If the air ain't blowing out of the port, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. When you get to the low point where you're actually playing low enough that your air starts blowing out of the port, that's when you're playing below your frequency. I do that sometimes, but my subwoofers have enough mechanical control to stay intact, and those damn slaps amps have got a decent damping factor as well, so they hold on to the subs. You guys saw the video I showed you earlier. I was playing below my tuning at full power, and those subs were totally in control. Let's see here. There's a lot of cheating in the 90s. Oh, son. Well, that was the whole point, man. That's how the game was played in the 90s. It was all about who can cheat the best and not get caught. That was the rules. It was like basically the class was determined by how big subs you have and or how much power you have. So you had different classes for like 500 watts and below, 1,000 watts and below, shit like that. And some amps were like claimed to be a certain amount of power, but they actually made a whole lot more power than that. I'll give you a good example. The surfboards from US amps, the surfboard amps, the big long 2-channel, 4-foot long 2-channel amps. If I remember correctly, they were rated at like, was it like 1,000 watts or something like that? But it was, no, they were rated, let me get this right. They were rated at 4 ohms, and they were rated at like, I don't know, 200 watts at 4 ohms or some stupid shit. But here's the thing. They were a 1/4 ohm stable amps. Yeah. So if you provided you had enough batteries to support them, yeah, they would get down. You could drop them down to a 1/4 of an ohm. So if you're looking at something that's 4 ohms and makes 200 watts at 4 ohms, that's 400 watts at 400 watts at 2 ohms, 800 watts at 1 ohm, 1,600 watts at half an ohm, and 3,200 watts at a 1/4 of an ohm. So if you fell into a 4 ohm class, if you were looking at like a 500 watt class, you could jump in there with your 400 watt or whatever 200 watt amplifier, and then you'd end up making over 3,000 watts. So that was cheating like a sumbitch, but that's what everybody did, so it was okay. But yeah. Yeah, it sucked the napkin all the way in the port. As long as if it sucked it in and then it kind of kept it right there, that's okay. But if it literally jerked it out of your hand and sent it flying in the port, that can happen if you're playing below your tuning too. But usually if it sucks it in, you're still within your tuning. Oh, it was dancing, he said. Yeah, you were at the right tune then. Perfect. Uh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And here's the thing, man. As long as you're not running vented or maintainable lead acid batteries like the ones you find in older cars with the little caps on top of the things, as long as you're not running those, if you're running sealed stuff, you can run that in the house. But I do suggest, since especially old batteries may be leaking acid, that you put them in a container. Have some kind of box that is liquid proof, like a plastic box or a bucket of some kind. Have your batteries down inside that. That way, if they do have a leak somewhere, it's not going to eat a hole in your carpet and destroy the carpet and stuff. Any kind of metal box or metal tray, a cake pan, right, or a baking sheet of some kind of pan with a little ridge on the side. Set them on top of that. That way, they don't have a chance of leaking acid onto your carpet. Trust me, you'll get some bad looks from your mom if you do that. But don't use one of her cooking dishes because you're going to get your ass kicked for sure for that. Go to the dump or the trash can and dig around and find something that's metal, that's kind of pan shaped and has a ridge around the side of it. That's perfect. It's a just in case measure. Sure, an oil pan will work. Is there anything, is there such a thing as too much headroom? Nope. Nope. I've seen 5,000 watts on a set of tweeters. Works just fine. There is not a such thing as too much headroom. You would never actually put that much power on there, but I've seen that much power available to a pair of tweeters. Uh, People are crazy. I have a crazy friend that don't run a stereo system in his car. He runs a mono system in his car. So he drives all of his mids and highs off of a monoblock amplifier, or two, or nine. For example, he'll have an 8,000 watt amp set up just to run his tweeters, another 8,000 watt amp set up to run the doors, another 8,000 watt amp set up to run like some speakers in the center console. That's how he does it. He runs one mono channel, just spreads it out and gets the ohm load right and spreads it out and runs a mono system in his car. Now, if I didn't tell you he did that, you would never know it. Because most tracks are pretty much mono anyway, with very little differences between left and right channels, unless you're going back to the 70s and the 80s and the 60s where they did a lot of that channel-based, shifting. Most tracks today, they're going to sound the same regardless. So, but having said that, I tend to mix tracks with a wide stereo separation. So if you're listening to my bass tracks that I create, the songs I create, I usually have quite a bit of stereo separation between them, a nice wide stereo image with little cues that run left and right so that you get that spacious feel. I don't dump everything on the right, then the left like they did in the 70s where they wanted you to, the whole guitar over here, then both guitars kind of thing. I don't go crazy, but I will do subtle cues. And it gets complicated how I do it, but I'll do subtle things that give you the feeling that you're in a larger space and the band is around you more than that you're looking at them in a straight from forward kind of a scenario. It's a lot of psychoengineering. So psychoacoustics engineering. Can you show me real quick? Yeah, I can't show you. I try to think. That got me rolling. So your mom's already giving you dirty looks. Well, if your mom's giving you dirty looks, that means you're doing it right, Joe. Hang in there, bud. That's how women will be for the rest of your entire life. You just got to learn to manage you got to learn to hold it right at the dirty look stage and not let it elevate into the throwing dishes at you stage. But you don't want the ignoring you stage either. You got to keep her right in that dirty look phase. Later on, this will all make sense. It may be crazy right now, but you'll understand later. Yeah, Joe Zamprat looks good. Let's see here. Question: I plan on running 4 Kicker Comp Gold 12s, 500 watts RMS, or 2,000. The vented enclosure spec is like 1.75 to 2.25 per driver. Okay, and you're going to put 2,000 watts on them. So here's the way I work that scenario that you're asking me. If the drivers are rated at 500 watts RMS, which is you're planning on running the maximum RMS power on those drivers, or maybe a little more, sometimes significantly more, and they give you a enclosure spec of 1.75 to 2.25. If you're going to run the power on them that's maxed out pretty much or more, I always lean toward the smaller enclosure. So in your case, with what you're telling me, running 2,000 watts on 4 500-watt speakers, RMS, I would absolutely run the 1.75 cubic feet or something very near it. And the reason, I think the reason they give you that variance is if you're going to run like half power on those subs or less than half power, excuse me, then I would shift gears and go to the 2.25 cubes per sub. But the minimum box requirement, the minimum is usually really good for the maximum power. So, and the Kicker is real good about giving you minimum power and maximum RMS, minimum RMS and maximum RMS. And those two numbers are directly related to that volume that they're recommending for the ported enclosure. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would run the minimum size with that maximum power number. You're going to end up cleaner. If you built it with a bigger enclosure, it would sound a little boomier at low power, but you would tend to bottom them out at high power. They wouldn't handle the power that you're wanting to throw at them. So when you get enough power on them, you don't need the large enclosure to be efficient and large. You can run a smaller enclosure, and that gives you more cone control. So ultimately, it's going to work better that way. Let's see here. Do kickers actually thump? Oh, hell yeah, kickers thump. That's a silly question. I like kicker drivers. Really good. I like Kicker as a brand, and you won't hear me say that very much. I very rarely say I like this brand all the way around. The reason I like Kicker as a brand is because they innovate. They're constantly working on making their things better. Even though they, like everybody else, pretty much have most of their stuff built or pieced out in China, they do innovate and design in-house in America, and same way Sundown Audio does. And they push the technology forward. They're always trying to do new, cool things. And I respect that, right? That's why I respect them as a brand, regardless of what they're doing, what equipment you're running, or what equipment they have for sale. I respect them as a company, as an organization. So, yes, Kickers thump. I heard CT Sounds and Sundown. Heard CT Sounds and Sundown sound best. See, you're referring to a brand. And I usually don't make that statement when I'm talking about equipment. It's not the same. And typically, Sundown, for the most part, builds drivers designed to be loud, whether it be for demo or SPL competition or whatever. They very much design their equipment to be operated in an environment that's going to be extremely loud. Does it sound bad? Doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound bad. It's kind of neutral. It's not exceptional in any way. Where Kicker mostly works toward fitting every man's vehicle. They have direct fit stuff. They have really nice SQ stuff. Sounds amazing. Really good equipment, good combinations of equipment to sound really, really good. Recently, they've gotten into being more SPL oriented with some lines. So they're kind of playing the wide game now, whereas Rockford and JL and all those guys are still kind of sitting on their hands and not really innovating. They're kind of stuck in this weird spot that's basically car audio companies go to eventually die. They're not trying to keep up anymore. They've given up the fight. But Kicker still is. And Sundown is definitely a solid company for very loud shit. Can you build a SQ Sundown setup? Hell yeah, man. You can build a SQ setup with just about any speaker, but they're not really oriented for that. So, yeah, just saying Sundowns sound best or Sundowns are awesome, that's that's not really an accurate statement. I know you hear that a lot. I'm trying to teach you to pay attention to the actual driver and the actual equipment that you're talking about because Sundown, the name Sundown being on something doesn't make it amazing. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, Thoughts on Stinger 8000 RCAs for mids and highs, bro? I don't buy snake oil. Let me go get something. I'm back in a second. I gotta go get something for you guys. Hang on. All right, I'm back. In case you didn't notice, these are seismic audio RCA cables. Okay, these are my favorite RCAs. Period. They the barrels on these will unscrew, and you can get to the internals up here. And the internals are well soldered and crimped in here. You guys can't really see it, and they have a little rubber shield that fits over them, and then the barrel screws on and attaches. Now, when you buy these, if you're going to put them in a big bass system, you're going to want to unscrew the barrel just a little bit, just crack it loose, screw a few threads back, and take a tiny drop of something like a red Loctite, a tiny drop of it, and put it right in that area, then screw it back up because they will work loose with vibrations. But normally they stay tight. This is a little short pair. These are my favorite RCAs. They have a nice stress retention with the spring right here. They look amazing. They're awesome as far as sound noise rejection. They're very durable, nice, thick, heavy rubber casing. So they feel really good in your hand. You know you're messing around with some good stuff. Now, and I have tested them, thoroughly tested them. They do hold up well. Those are actually designed for audio work for like companies that do big amplifiers for concerts and pedals, to hook up pedals and all that stuff in your rack for your guitar, your guitar pedal board. They're designed for jumpers for stuff like that. They use them in this whole world, and they make those in house. So each one, they start out with this stock cabling, and they make them the length that they need to be made. And they're not expensive. And a whole lot of companies will sell you a bunch of crap that's supposed to be amazing, but it's crap. Give me a second. All right, so I buy these off Amazon, but let's go over here. But if you go over to Seismic Audio, you check their site out, close that little thing, you can start to see the stuff that they sell here. This is the kind of stuff that they do, right? This is what they get into, their jam. But you can go on Amazon and pick these up. So they have all these different types of patch cables, but you got to find them. They're dug in here. Let's see if I can find them on their site. There's a whole lot here listed. Let me see. Maybe I usually buy them on Amazon. So give me a second. Cables. Don't know if that's what I'm looking for. Okay, that is one. That is one style. Yes. Um, but they have all the cables. Needless to say. So this is one source. Now, like I said, I buy mine on Amazon. I don't have to dig through all this stuff, but they come from this company, and I have had really good luck with them. A bunch of quarter plug cables and all that stuff. Amprac, they got some little RCA composite cables, but they have all the stuff, and they build all this in house. All this is in house stuff. Give me a second, I will look up the. I go to my Amazon and I'll look them up. I'll get a link for you guys. I'll put the link in the thing here. Now you'll need to get the right size because they come in different sizes, obviously. But as far as those high-end, crazy, expensive cables, you're just buying snake oil. Are they good cables? Sure, but you're paying ridiculous money for them. Is the cable that costs a third of the price just as good? Maybe. It's all about buying the right equipment, not by buying a name brand. And I'm gonna have to go deeper. We're going deep. How deep? We're going way deep. Here we go. Well, that's the wrong ones. Those are cables online. That's a good cable too, but it's not the one I'm looking for. We will continue. I'm not giving up, damn it. I pulled the last one up. Maybe if I pull this one up, I'll be able to find the other one because it'll show up with it. That's a good company too, though. Yeah, there they are. All right, so let's get over here. Got y'all on the wrong page. So these are seismic cables here, and whatever. You can find them in different groups and different packs. This is a pack of 2 for $26. 2-foot dual RCA. These are shorties, and you can get them in red, you can get them in black, you can get them in different colors. I like these cables, and if you dig a little bit online, they have different sizes too, but you got to hit the right spot. Now, if I hit the store over here, it takes me straight back to this page where they shows all this stuff that they make. But they do have different sizes. You can get them in longer lengths. You can get them in like 10-foot, 12-foot lengths and like and such. But this is what you're looking for, is the seismic audio stuff. And especially if you want shorty cables, man, they are so nice because you can get them down in like 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, a foot, 2 foot. You can get the length you want pretty good with these. So I'm a big fan of them. I wish I had a deal with them, but I don't. I was looking to see if there was the links in here because there's more links, but I'd have to dig for them to find them. Because right now, this particular set is its own listing, but I'll grab the link for you guys and send it over here. If y'all want to go there and dig in, I'll put it in the chat. There are more sizes available, but you'll have to look for them. I can't go that deep in the show here. Let me go back up. Oh hell, Joe Daddy, y'all are in full bullshit mode. I see that right now. Plan on going for okay. Yeah, that's where we were. Oh, that's a different one. Okay, now go back up. It'll work. Cheating. Okay, I'm back. I'm caught back up. The thing moved a lot while I was looking away. Damn, Joseph. All right, what's El Fuego saying? I plan on running 4 kicker comps. Yeah. Okay, we covered that. Gotcha. Now I know where we are. I heard. Yep. Okay. And you're talking about the 8000 RCA series from Edson. Like I said, that's what I recommend. All you want is at least 1 or 2 layers of shielding. A twisted pair is shielding. A twisted pair with a shielding cable on it is 2 layers of shielding. Uh, and these guys are doing both of those. So they're solid. Joseph said the 8K was at 4 ohms each. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was talking about those amps earlier. Yes, those door panels are nasty. They sound good too. They sound really good. Made me happy as fuck. Yeah. You guys are just poor man. Joseph said, "Thank you, you guys. Just a poor man from the heart of Kentucky, bro. I'm all about love and respect for our people. Putting in the work to make their shit right. I mean, if you got that big old checking account and you can just go throw money at somebody to do the work for you, go for it. I'm all about it too. If you got that money to just throw, I ain't that guy. Even when I was driving a truck, I really didn't go quite that hard. I did kind of go hard that direction though. I had a car audio guy, my buddy Carmel, who was doing all my work on my Tahoe because I was always at work. I wasn't even at home. I was out driving a truck, so I would leave and be gone for 2 weeks or whatever, and come back, and he'd be working on my shit while I was gone. I didn't have time. When I come in, I was down for a couple of days, and all I wanted to do was sleep and watch TV and hang out with my people. I didn't want to get out and do nothing, so I had him working on my shit while I was gone. Well, that changes whenever you ain't got that, you're not that busy, and you got more time than you got money. Now you're back doing your own shit. There's something to be said for both, man. Honestly, I'd rather build my own shit. If I got time, and I'd rather build my own shit. El Fuego said Bobby B's cheating with mad wiring skills built up from his 5 years of watching 5 Star Car Stereo vids. Right? I got a lot of respect for the wiring they do on everything, man. When you're paying a whole lot extra to get something installed for you, it's nice that you're getting something that's so super clean and so nice. Even though the equipment's all good, but that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for the install, and it needs to be on point. It don't need to look like the neighbor next door did it between flipping the burgers on his barbecue grill, right? It needs to look like somebody put their heart and soul into it and meant that shit. So I'm all about it, man. We're going to do something very similar on this build we're working on in this trunk. You guys will see the board. I'm working on the basic structure right now, but you'll see it. Um, oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're asking, Joe. What does home mean or home? Holmes law? I can't remember. I'd have to dig into it. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not sure exactly what you're referencing. Oh yeah, there you go. 40,000 watts is 0 ohms. Give them a fuego. Oil pan will work. 40,000. Joe, El Fuego's being a shithead. Just look up. Just Google at 0 ohms. At like AT space 0 OHMS. And I guarantee you'll find the video he's referencing. It's funny as hell. But don't listen to anything that idiot says in that video as real information. But it is funny. It's only funny if you know how stupid he is, though. There you go. I'll spread this shit around now. Makes me go out to the shed and play my music. Might just build you a little jam section out in the shed, man. That's what I would have done. Hell, that's what I would do now if I had a shed. But my wife don't mess with my shit, so I can jam at 2 o'clock in the morning. I can be in there dropping the thunder, and she don't say a word. So pick your wife carefully, man. It's going to make a difference later. Uh, Joe Daddy be putting the system on a riding lawnmower. You're damn right. You guys are fun. Oh yeah. Oh, Oh, El Fuego's dropping it. You guys are awesome. I just realized my next build is going to be utilizing old school Orion amps built from the 90s that are older than Joe Daddy. Take him to school, man. So, what I want to talk about today, oh, goodness. I'm in the market for some good jacks. Well, hell, man, who isn't in the market for a good jack? I mean, some jacks. How how far away from the okay? How far away should the back port be from the cab back wall? About the length. So what I usually work at is most people will tell you about the same diameter as the port. So if it's a 3-inch port, it should be about 3 inches from the wall. Technically, though, since the wall goes in all directions, it can be closer than that. I would say at least half of the diameter of the port from the wall. So if you got a 3-inch port, it needs to be an inch and a half away from the wall, at least. If not, you're going to choke it out. Hopefully, oh yeah. Troy popped in. He said I hadn't put Loctite on mine yet. You don't have to. It's if you're doing some shit like I am, it's kind of crazy. You might need to, but you don't have to. You usually don't have any issue. If you give them a good little twist, they'll lock in and pretty much stay closed. But you might have one walk on you. That's why I said put a drop of red Loctite in there. Just a tiny drop is all it takes. Uh, I'm gonna tell you, brother, if it comes from Seismic Audio, you can bet on it being a pretty good product. That company is actually pretty solid. I got a friend that does audio setups for big ass bands and big concerts and stages and shit. Yeah, I got friends in all across the audio world, but he does big, huge shows for big people, and he uses a whole shit ton of Seismic Audio stuff. So, just throwing that out there. $1 million venues. Uh, okay, that's an interesting question. What use Slaps Audio oblivious to on 12? What in the hell are you asking? All right, somebody, let's try to figure this one out. Um, what you slapped? I have no idea what you're asking, bro. I'm sorry. I can't figure that out. There's a couple of words missing or something. But try again. I'm sure you corrected it at some point in the comments. So we'll just keep going and maybe we'll get to you. OM. Okay. Well, we got T. Corley said, I'm back. I'm back. See, I figured out it was I'm, though, because at least some of these words are right. I'm back. Missed a lot, but I like New Concepts RCAs. Yeah, New Concepts RCAs are fine. No problems. I'm just saying the Seismic is what I'm using because I think they are a solid ass cable. But yeah, New Concepts, wires and everything seems to all be pretty much on point. And they also innovate. They make some pretty unique stuff. So go if you're interested in connectors, distribution blocks, and things of that nature, something's odd that you got to do, by all means, head over to New Concepts, KNU, well, basically how he spelled it in the thing. Head over there and check out what they have because you might be impressed. T. Corley says, sorry, I'm in and out. I remember what I wanted. Okay. So audio control epicenter. Okay. If you want that bass restoration, when I say restoration, it could be restoration if you're using a car head unit that come in a car that's designed to drop the bass when you go past a certain volume level. That is a good fix for that. Also, if you're wanting to rebase the music that you're listening to, if you're wanting to play older music and hear bass out of it, An epicenter can do that as well. But if those two things are not on your menu, it's not worth anything. That's the two things it does better than about anything else. There are other good bass restoration, bass boosting kind of things out there that do the same basic job, but Audio Control pretty much invented that. So they got a really good system. Of course, they charge you for it, but it's probably worth the while to spend the money and get the Audio Control gear if you want that kind of a bass enhanced situation. No, he said 0 ohms. 0. Come on, man. You gotta understand what the thing is. Damn it. 0 ohms. 0. That's what he says. 0. I'm fueling my truck up right now, and I work on my system every weekend. Won't let anybody put their hands. If that's what you do on the weekends, bro, I totally understand that too. I totally understand it. I did too, to a small extent. And I had very few people that I trusted to let go on my shit. And my buddy Carmel is one of those people that I trust implicitly. Dude, I'm going to tell you, this is how tight he is. I have went in his shop. Let me just tell you like this, okay? I went in his shop, and I go around a lot of times and I video different projects and stuff. And there was one project. He said, he said, you can shoot video. He said, but don't shoot the center console. I said, why not? He said, there's stuff in there that don't need to be on video. And in the center console, there was a stack of money in the center console. And there was also a big ass bag of certain types of illegal substance in that center console. He did a complete build in that vehicle, like all the way through, and never touched that man's stuff. And you want to make sure I didn't touch it either. But that's the kind of people that I like messing around with, people that have that kind of integrity. And Carmel will straight up tell you, you go in there wanting to buy this expensive thing and this expensive thing. He said, wait a minute, you shouldn't do that. You should get this because it's going to work better for what you're doing. He will downsell you to get you the right stuff. So this is the kind of guy that I like to work with. He's got morals. He's got a good work ethic. These are the things I look for in people that I deal with. So I'm very much into that. And that's what Carmel at Carmel Car Audio always is going to bring. People come in there, they have guns and all kinds of stuff in their cars, and they never have any issues because nobody messes with their stuff. Just never. And it's hilarious because he'll have one guy's car that has a bag of pot in his freaking center console, and then right next to him will be a cop car he's putting lights in. How crazy is that, man? Let's see here. El Fuego is, you're right. El Fuego is absolutely hilarious. That man is a crazy person. He's a crazy man. I know it's a question that's off subject, but how would you run speaker wire for your door when there's a plug at the end of the boot? Drill a hole through the plug. That's one way. I've had to do that. Drill a hole right through the plug. Run the wire right through there. You can also find spots in that plug where there's stuff that you're not using on the door. So there'll be like empty pinouts in there that aren't anything in there. You can drill through those if you want and run the wire through, or you can build a pinout setup for the drivers you're trying to run and pin it out through the connector. Those are the two ways I suggest doing it. The third way, which is more destructive, but also probably safer, is to drill a hole above the boot and above the door. So drill a hole through the car, right above the boot on the car side and right above the boot on the door side. Put a rubber grommet in there and run your speaker wire through that right above the top of the boot, and then use Tesa tape to kind of protect that wire again. So you're running it through a boot and you're Tesa taping it and just letting it flex with the door as the door opens and closes. That's another way. The last way is just use the existing speaker wire. unless you're wanting to add another channel to the door, that existing speaker wire is more than enough to carry any amount of voltage you're going to run to those speakers. You don't need a humongous wire to carry voltage. You're not carrying hardly any amperage over that wire, but you're carrying a lot of voltage. And voltage can run on a teeny tiny wire. So just saying, that's my input on that. What do you think about it? Maybe. What are we referring to? What do I think about the sub? Was you the person that asked that weird question? Let me scroll back way up here. I want to see if I can figure out. I think you are. I think it was you that asked that question. Okay. I think that the Slaps Audio Oblivions version 2s are some wicked, stupid, awesome subwoofers. I'm running 4 of the 15s in my Tahoe. And they do the thing. You know, all the stuff that you see, all the videos you see of me doing hair tricks and crazy ass stuff in the Tahoe, that's all the Slaps Oblivions. So, yeah, I think they're awesome. In your opinion, in your opinion, do you think a dual 8 1600 watt loaded Tropo sub will sound good? A dual 8? That's an oddball number. 1600 watts, probably going to be max power. So I would assume 800 watts. I mean, or dual 8. So like 2 8s. I don't know. Oh, a prefab box. Prefab boxes are usually tuned kind of high. In general, they're usually tuned at like 40 hertz, sometimes higher than that. And I personally don't care for that bass that high. I like my bass to be much lower. For SQ or for sound quality, though, probably be okay. I personally would rather run a sealed sub for SQ, but anyway, that's just me, man. It's going to be one of those things where it's up to you to decide if it sounds good to you. So it's hard to call that one. Yeah, the seismic cables are the bomb, dude. And on top of that, they look awesome. Look at that. That looks nice, man. Those are good looking cables. And wait till you feel them. They have that feel too. Something about the look and the feel that just really rings a bell. Think about Slaps. Okay, well, I think about the Slaps Audio version 12. What do I think about the Slaps Audio version 2 12-inch sub? Good. I haven't heard the 12, but the 15 has the same motor. So, yes. I mean, you know, I don't. Hang on a second. Let's see if that trick works. That definitely did not work. That was definitely not what I was trying to do, damn it. You freaking stupid. This is the Slaps Audio 15s playing 24 hertz in this video.
Let's vibrate till it blur your picture. Hurricane hum in the box I'm building. Every brace wall got a story I'm gilding. Breathe that dust, it'll cave your lungs. And vortex spinning like a saw blade buzz. And storm on deck when the hands start pushing. Waves so deep, make the asphalt cushion.
So when you ask me what I think about them, There you go. Uh, T. Corliss is have old school music and want bass in it for sure. Yeah, if you do that, adding that will definitely give you that option. Just be careful that you don't still have it set up for that and you play something new. It's going to really do weird shit to the bass for a new track that's got low bass in it already. It's going to try to knock it down an octave, which means you're going to be putting out some really low frequencies. It sounds like a solid bass restoration unit. Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak on it. I'm sure they do though. There's quite a few companies that do. Um, but yeah, it's a good price though, Emmett. Thanks for the heads up, bro. What about thinking about DD Audio ZVL? All right, let me dig into that one. DD Audio ZVL Strap 10 channel active preamp signal processor. I haven't used that, but if it's a line output booster, like a line level booster, that can be helpful. But you don't need that if you're running the B2 DSP, it's going to do that for you. So, and then you're not going to get the ability to do the stuff that the DSP can do. So it's kind of half of a DSP, part of one. I mean, yeah, it can be cool, but a good DSP can make the difference. Absolutely, Troy. I agree with you. 100%. Agreed. Classic rock sounds much fuller with a bass restoration device. It does for sure. I saw your comment, Joe. Uh, I totally get you on the integrity top notch. 100%, bro. That's the kind of shit, those types of things leave a mark in your brain. It's like when Carmel one evening had to leave the store. I was there. He was working on my stuff. He left to go do some stuff and come back and left me in the store by myself. Right. That to me said a lot about his trust in me. Right. And that's a thing that I'll never forget is things like that. You know, he wanted me to go grab some lunch, toss me the keys to his truck, you know, take my truck, throw me his credit card. So here's my card. Here's my keys to my truck and left. You know, that's the kind of trust kind of situation we have. And, and I hold that very, very, very dear into my heart, how deeply I hold that trust. So I would never do anything to violate his trust. But he's the same way with me, you know, and with all of his customers. And that's the kind of person I do business with. I don't mess around with people that are sketch. I just don't. I don't have no use for that. I don't have no place for that in my life. Um, Wave Tech, yes, it's a good piece of kit. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that's a good piece of kit, bro. You're right. Uh, Battery terminal blocks. Uh, New Concepts. It's a good place to go, especially if you're looking for anything unusual. New Concepts is going to give you a very good selection of really cool stuff for battery terminal blocks. They have the best ones I've seen anywhere. There are some cheaper examples, um, and they may be fine. I'm using some of the less expensive ones, but the ones with 4 lugs attached to your battery and 6 lugs and stuff like 8 lugs, those work fine. But if you're wanting to, my opinion on what the best are, check out New Concepts. Speaking on ohms, I had an OG amp ran my 412s at 2 ohms. Power supply side messed up. Should I wire to under 1 ohm? I don't like that theory. That's a common thing for people to wire. And a lot of times, an amp, some of the amps that are rated at 1 ohm will not play below 1 ohm. just won't. They just won't play. If you hook them up to 1 ohm, they'll go into protect immediately and not work. But if an amp is rated at 1 ohm, I believe you should leave it at 1 ohm, because the power supply and everything, the thermal, the ability for that amp to act on thermal energy and get rid of thermal energy, heat, is based around how much they rate that ohm load for, how much they rate that amplifier for. Even if the board will allow it to play below 1 ohm, you're going to be pulling more current than the amp is designed to handle. You're going to get more heat, which means you're going to have more resistance internally in the amplifier, which means you're going to have more heat, and you get a runaway situation where at best you're going to shorten the life of the amplifier. At worst, you're going to blow up the amplifier. So I believe in keeping the ohm load where it's rated at, because the engineers did that for a reason. Even if the amp is capable of playing below that ohm load, I don't like running on below that ohm load. That's my opinion, bro. I'd wire it at 2 ohms. In fact, I can say that because I literally did do that. When I had my 412s in there and I put the new stuff in there where I was set up for 1 amp, and I set up for 1 amp, and then I switched to 2 amps. I had to run both of them at 2 ohms each instead of 1 ohm, because one was at all 4 subs equals 1 ohm. But whenever I split them up into 2 pairs, it was 2 ohms and 2 ohms. And I ran both of my amps at 2 ohms and 2 ohms until I replaced those subs. So I'm not just telling you what I would do, I'm telling you what I have done. So yes, that's just my opinion, though. I accidentally purchased 2 12-inch avatars secondhand. One is dual 1 ohm and one is dual 2 ohms. Is it possible to wire them together? Let's think about that real quick. A dual 1 ohm has a possibility of playing at 2 ohms, and then the dual 2 ohm has a possibility of playing at 4 ohms or 1 ohm. So we can get 1 ohm there. The dual ones can only play at 2 ohms, period. Nope, not really. Sorry, bud. That's not going to happen. But you could always send off and get recone kits for. I just recone both of them to what ohm load you want. That'd be the best avenue. That, or sell them or something. That's a messed up situation. Sorry you got into that. But you can't run it on one voice coil. That's going to cook the voice coil. It basically cuts the power in half, and it changes all the TS parameters. You don't want to do that. So yeah, you're stuck. Sean Richards, how many cubic feet do I need? Slaps Audio Oblivion version 2 12-inch dual voice coil. Yeah. How many cubic feet? You didn't see it on the website? Come on, guys. I've taught you better than this. Holy bejesus. All right, let's go over here. Slaps Audio 12. That's the V212. And you said, which one was it specifically? It doesn't matter on this part. So let's just click on the picture and go right down here to the bottom. Guys, how much of a box does he need? So let's see here. I'm going to pull this up. How many cubic feet do I need for the version 212? You need, if you're going to run 2,000 watts RMS, you need about 1.9 cubic feet. If you're going to run significantly less power, you're going to need about 2.4 cubic feet. And you're going to want to tune that box to 28 to 33 hertz in that general range. This would be the information you're looking for. And those 12s are nasty, guys. They are truly good subs. That's the same motor that's on my 15s. I know they will get busy. But yeah, this is the number you're looking for right here. Let's see here. Thanks for what I was thinking. This one I was thinking that plug is jam packed. Yeah. Pro tip. Take your gun and weed out of the car before you drop it off at the stereo shop. Brother, You would think that. But let me tell you, as somebody who closely works with a car audio shop, I don't think any dope dealers do that. They leave shit in their car all the time. Guns, money, drugs, they just drop it off. Loaded with stuff. It's like, I think it's just part of the culture. Like, I don't even need this. I'm just going to leave it in my car, drop it off, get my shit done. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, what the hell is wrong with you people? I don't know. But like me, if I was doing that kind of business, that shit would be like on me when it needed to be on me and somewhere completely different when it didn't need to be on me. You know what I mean? At the house, hid in like the bottom of the bookcase behind a Bible or something. Yeah, I'd be hiding that shit, hard hiding it. So yeah. I was referring to the other comments you didn't understand. I got you, boss. I figured it out. um, no, I do not partake of those things. I have a CDL, still have a CDL, and I just don't have any need for any type of narcotics or any type of enhancers, with the exception of these and this, which is Diet Coke. No whiskey, mostly. I haven't had any whiskey in a long time. That said, I will put a nip. I'll take a nip every once in a while, but it's been like, since I had even a sip, it's been like 3 years, maybe more. So I got a bottle over there, but I never hit it. I've had that same bottle for God, I can't even remember when I got it. So no, I don't partake of any of those things. You ask if I'm in Missouri. Yes, I'm in Springfield, Missouri. Nice to see you tonight. Joe Daddy, take a blinker off that cig, huh? Now, I saw that post, that comment earlier. I'm not sure what the blinker is, but I'll take a drag. Uh, oh, I got you. Well, you must live local then, bro, because that's the only one. There's only one Carmel Car Audio, man. So yeah, you live in the same town. Uh, Bass restoration for all music and some new stuff. Yeah. No, that's a terrible idea, bro. That's a guarantee. Like I said, that will change the thermodynamics of the driver completely and change all the TS parameters. You basically might as well be running two completely different drivers in the same enclosure. So that's not an option. That's a good way to blow shit up. Uh, Hell yeah, man. Well, happy birthday. Oh, dude, y'all all birthday. The first or the second, huh? The second? Yeah, the second. I lose track, man. Troy said, when you have so much weed, sometimes you forget where it's all at. Maybe that's the case, yeah. Jay Shipes, what's up, man? We're just talking about, all the stuff. Hey, I wanted to show you guys something cool. So I've been studying up on this, and I wanted to bring y'all into the fold on this. So let me jump over here to my other screen. So this right here is a Lev 60 battery right here. These over on Battery Hookup. Now I'm going to talk about these a little bit because I know that there are a lot of people trying to run these things, and that's all good. But I want everybody to understand the limitations of this battery. Okay. And yes, you can get a good amount of power. In fact, four of these in a bank is capable of producing 600 amps for about 10 seconds all by themselves. That's got a good discharge rate. Excellent battery. Uh, so it's a great source. Now, here's the key, though. They're cheap as hell. Okay. They are cheaper, $22 a piece. You can make a 600 amp battery or a 6,000 watt amp battery for about $88. But there's a couple of things you need to understand about these LEV 60 cells. The biggest one is the voltage that they can take a charge at. So whenever you have these things configured in a 4S configuration, they can only be charged at a maximum of 14.4 volts. So if you're using these, you need to have an alternator or a charging system that doesn't go over 14.4, meaning basically a factory charging system. Your factory car is not going to spend any real time over 14.4 volts. So it will recognize this battery as right at the same as your AGM battery. And here's the other part about that. These cells will rest at pretty much identical resting voltage with a AGM battery, meaning you could run them in the system without having any kind of voltage differential between the front and rear, the AGM and the lithium. These might be a really juicy choice for people trying to run these batteries. Now, I saw the comment down there, LiPo doesn't like cold weather. You're correct. No batteries like cold weather, to be honest. I think, though, and what did he do? Yeah, he did a whole different build, though. That's a long, drawn-out thing. I saw that video. I think these are rated pretty cold, but I don't remember the exact rating. You might need to dig into that and find out what they are. Actually, you know what? Let's see what we can find. We're going to drag Cypher into the conversation. I haven't had him come out and talk in a bit, so let's pull him up here. Hey, Cypher X, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? You know I'm here ready to bring that bass shock or whatever vibe you need. What's on your mind today?
All right, so are you familiar with the LEV 60 lithium cells?
Yeah, I know those. The LEV 60 cells are those big, high capacity lithium ion cells often used in EV packs. Are you thinking of incorporating them into your next build or something else on your mind?
No, technically, right now we're doing the live show. And so you're on the live show, and welcome to the live show. But what we're wondering about is what is the minimum temperature that they're safe to operate at?
The LEV 60 lithium cells are safe to operate down to about -4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is -20 degrees Celsius. When charging, though, you want to stay above freezing, so at least 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius to avoid damage. Keep them within these ranges, and you're good.
All right, so we don't want to actively charge them with any real current below freezing. That's what you're saying?
Exactly. Below freezing, charging can cause lithium plating, and that's bad news for cell life and safety. So warm them up before charging, but once you're above freezing, you're in the clear.
Now, to keep it real, though, we could discharge them while they're colder.
Yeah, you've got it. Discharging at lower temps is less risky. The cells can safely deliver power even if they're cold, just as long as you warm them up when it's charging time.
Well, I was figuring that while you're discharging them, you're also going to be warming them up.
Exactly. Pulling current out naturally generates some heat. So if it's cold, a little discharge warms them right up. Just keep it within reasonable current limits, and you're golden.
All right, bro. Thanks as always. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So you don't want to put any power on them, charging them below freezing. But even down below freezing, quite a bit below freezing, you can discharge them. So they make these little pads that you can use. Now, I have one, but I have to go get it. There's a little pad that's got a couple of wires going to it. You put power on it and it gets warm. I have all the stuff to build the system to where it monitors the temperature. And the idea is to use, this is a crazy combination of shit, but you follow me, you'll understand where I'm going. to use a 500 amp relay, like, hang on a second. Here you go. I'll show you. So like this guy right here on battery hookup, and this is what I'm using for my battery isolator. They are really good, and they're $15. So if you want a good battery isolator, this is the one you want. 500 amps has handled quite a bit of power. So my idea, and like I said, I've had all the stuff to do this, is to use like a HVAC controller, like what you have on your wall, right? You can get these on Amazon super cheap, and it would run the temperature. It tells what temperature it is in the environment that it is, right? So you take that thing and you hook up the trigger to it. If it drops below a certain temperature, okay, then it will send power to something, which is what it would do to turn on a heater, right? Then you use the heating pad under the thing to heat it up. Now you have that all start up when you turn the ignition key on. Okay, what would happen is your HVAC controller would say it's too cold, and you could have it send power to a relay and have it flip the switch so that the relay opens, right, instead of closes. And you would use this other relay that I just showed you, the 500 amp one, to disconnect the battery from the system. So what would happen is it's cold. That tells the little relay to open a circuit, which means that this thing doesn't get power and your battery gets disconnected. Okay, so as soon as you turn the key on, it would disconnect the battery, right? The second thing that would happen is that same trigger would turn on the heater. And then if you had that heater adjacent to the thermal pickup on that thermostat, right? As soon as the temperature in that battery comes up to where it's above 32 degrees inside or wherever you have it set at, it would turn off the heater and turn on the battery. Pretty cool, right? This little rig could totally be set up to run batteries that shouldn't be run in cold weather. Now, what's going to happen is, dig this. So the battery will be disconnected from the charging, but it could still be connected to your amplifiers. So you could pull power with your amplifiers, helping to warm the battery up. As soon as the battery warms up a little bit and gets above the threshold, it kicks back on, the alternator starts charging it. It's an effortless thing that happens without you ever thinking about it anymore. It's always watching your battery. You basically just created a BMS with a 500 amp output. Most BMSs are limited to like 80 amps or 120 amps or some stupid shit. What you're doing is building a BMS that has a 500 amp limit. That's good. Very good. Because if you've got multiple banks, you could run multiples of these relays and cut them all at one time and have 500 amps, 500 amps, 500 amps, 500 amps, cutting them all at once and getting your power right. It's a really cool way to be able to safely run lithium in extreme cold. So I thought I'd tell you about that. I worked this out a long time ago, but never built it, but I know it could be built. Let's go back up here and see what's going on in the chat. Yes, LiPo batteries do not like cold weather. We just covered that, though. I'm glad you got back to the LEV 60. I run 12 of them, so I wanted to take your take on them. I don't see any problem with them yet. I haven't found any real weaknesses. So that's a pretty solid setup with 12 of them. That's like 1,800 amps of potential output. That's a lot of freaking power. Yeah, LTO is safer because it can handle cold weather better. But it's also a lot bulkier and a lot more expensive. So it's a lot more expensive than these guys, like magnitudes more expensive than these guys. So that's a thing. Joseph said, listening to y'all and trying to make these measurements make sense in my head. My port will be 5 inches tall and 11.5 inches deep to be at 28 hertz. Oh yeah, we like it low, baby. You're right there with me, Joseph. That's going to play down to like 22 or 23, something like that. Real good. That's nice. 28 hertz is kind of where I want to always have my port tuned anymore. I like to be able to play in the mid 20s, and that's as low as I care about playing. But it's just the sweet spot. Uh, 3D says I have a 300 amp hour of LiPo 4 batteries in my van with stock charging system on an AGM and an AGM for the engine. It's not the LEV 60 cells though. Like I said, I'm digging into stuff that I don't normally talk about. So, I've been researching batteries more and more. And I'm still 100% behind Trunk Thunder Lithium. If you're looking for something that's set it and forget it, and those batteries can take 32 degrees below zero. They can take extreme cold. So I'm all about them. But I'm also about trying to find the poor man's stuff too. This is, the budget. We're looking at all the stuff. I'm going to get one of those isolators. Yeah, I highly recommend buying like at least two and stashing one because the price is great and they do come and go on the site. Sometimes they're not there anymore. They were gone for months and months, and then they finally came back. At $15, man, a 500 amp relay that's designed for crazy amounts of power and really solid built something, that's an awesome piece of kit to have. GA said, I made a mistake and grabbed Down for Sound LTO 6.0 while they were on the sale. Better to get that and grab an X-Max 45 or a second LTO. You should be able to run 4,000 watts off of, I think that's like a 10 amp hour battery, if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't want to run. I'd be wanting to run two of those if I was running. But man, boy, let me tell you. Yeah, you're right. You made a mistake and bought those. It's not the best, not even close to being the best thing for what you're doing. But I could be wrong about the amp hours, but I think that's a 10 amp hour. And let me explain why that's important. Okay, if you got a 10 amp hour battery, and let's say it's got a 10 C rating, that means you can pull 10 times the amp hours out at one time. So it's 100 amps out. If that battery at best is going to have a 20 C rating, which means you can only pull 200 amps out of it at one time. That's the C rating is the multiple of how much amps you can pull of the amp hours that the battery has. So 200 amp hours is good for a 2,000 watt constant power drain. But on music, it could probably play 4,000 watts, but you're right on the edge of what you're capable of doing. Right on the bleeding edge of it. It would probably not be great. So you would need like two of those to do what you're wanting to do. And you've already bought into the ecosystem now. So you're pretty much either forced to chalk that $300 up as a loss and start over, or spend another $300 and something to get what you need to actually do the job. It's unfortunate, but that's where you are. You could have done a whole lot more with less money with the right purchase. But I'm welcome to the show. I don't always drop good news, baby, but I drop real news. What's up, Stu? In the house. All right, let's see if I know, because I don't have working knowledge of every single piece of audio equipment on the market, but I do my best. I'm getting ready to run an NSV612, NSV, okay, on either a JP43 or a Salt 4. I already have, I want a solid power supply. I already have a JS320, Big 3, and dual alt gauge support. I don't remember what the Salt 4 produces or what the 4.3 produces. I think they're similar power, probably like 5 or 6,000 watts. If I had to guess on my guessing, sometimes I'm amazingly close, and sometimes I'm way the hell off. But assuming that I'm right on the number, we'll just say 6,000. Um, and you have a 320 amp alt and a big three. Yeah, oh, I'm guessing that NSV6 is it's a 12. Okay. If you're pulling 6,000 watts, if that's what the number is, and it sounds like it's about right, um, that's going to be a maximum of 600 amps or a nominal 300 amps. So your alternator will probably keep up with that, though it might stumble a little bit on sustained bass notes. You may notice some drop in voltage when you're holding a bass note for a long time, but you're right on the edge of what your alternator can keep up with. And I'm sure you're running an AGM battery under the hood. I really would recommend padding that system with at least a small lithium bank right by the amplifier to help handle those long bass notes and to deliver that power that you're looking for. And if you want an inexpensive one of those, if Big Jeff has them in stock, I don't have the thing. I don't have the tab open for that. But anyway, if Big Jeff has them in stock, the Big Jeff lithium battery, a single one of those, will be a solid battery to put underneath that to be able to support what you're trying to support with your alternator. It would be capable of doing that job. Also, the Trunk Thunder Lithium 5K would be an excellent battery to handle that. Those are two that I would, and the Trunk Thunder Lithium battery will handle significantly more power than what you're going to need. So like you're talking 6 or 8K, what it'll handle. So it'll be well above that and that's on a stock alternator. It would be the shoe in for the win thing. But again, you may be waiting a month or so before they come back in stock. So have a heads up on that. It's the best value for the power with a ready built bank that can handle extreme, cold temperatures. They're literally designed to work in Siberia. So they handle cold real well. It's the best cold ready, all around bulletproof, one stop shop, drop it in and go battery. I think the Big Jeff batteries are using the same cells, but they're using half of the cells. So it's basically half of a 5K. And so it's a solid bank. It's going to have cold weather ability too. So it'll be a solid choice, but both of them are out of stock right now. But if you over on Big Jeff and use my discount code CAE, anything Big Jeff sells, and you're going to get a discount on their stuff. And if you're ordering from Trunk Thunder Lithium, use discount code CAE10 to get a discount there. Anyway, that's all I can say on that right at the moment. But you probably are okay, but I still would recommend a little bit of lithium in that setup. Okay. A super bank? You mean like a super cat bank? No. If you're running a large enough super cat bank, you don't need batteries, but it takes a pretty big one to go without adding batteries. Like a lot of farads, like thousands of farads. It's far more expensive to put together a super cat bank that can handle what a lithium battery can do. So your lithium is going to replace your super caps. I run super caps in my build alongside my lithium because I have them. So I put them in my vehicle. I didn't need them, but they're there anyway. And if you got them, throw them in. It ain't going to hurt anything. You know what I'm saying? Stu said, hey, so we could build battery boxes and lithium and then theoretically run heat or cooling. Absolutely. See, Stu was listening to what I said earlier. I got his brain wheels moving. Stu's paying attention to this shit. 100%, Stu. You're absolutely correct, my friend. And all of that shit could be built into a box and completely sealed up in there and doing its own thing all the time. And it's key activated. So when you turn the key on, it starts the process. It doesn't have to sit there and pull power all the time. It comes on when the key comes on. Brilliant. Uh, Emmett says, I need the 1800 amps because they're running 13.5 and the DS10 channel. Okay. Get her done. I mean, like I tell everybody, when you separate something from something way in the comment list, I may forget what the hell you were talking about earlier. So try to get your shit all into the same spot. And I know when I comment, you want to comment back, but I don't always remember what the hell you said earlier because I'm working in my head. I'm working half a dozen different builds that are all kind of similar, so I get them all mixed up. So forgive me if I don't know what the hell you're talking about when you make that second reference. I'm sorry. How cold can XS X-Max lithium 135 battery run at? Without me looking that up, you can assume 32 degrees is your given. Lithium banks, most lithium does not like to be below freezing because at freezing temperatures, things stop moving around. The liquid becomes a solid and things stop working properly. So you can always assume that until you know differently. Prismatic cells are a little better at handling cold weather than other cells. And I don't know what those cells are in the X-Max. But I do know that they will tell you exactly what the temperature range is on that if you check the website. The one thing they are very good at is giving you information. Since we're in the same town, I'm hoping one day I'll catch up with you to get a demo. That's not a problem, brother. I've sent out my details on Facebook before, how to get in contact with me on Facebook, and so it's on a live show, and all you gotta do is holler at me, and hell, I'll give you a demo tomorrow. We'll have some fun. Well, I can kind of give you a demo because my Tahoe is right now is a little bit jacked up. I'm waiting on some parts to come in, but it will play. It's just not pretty. But yeah, absolutely, man. For that matter, just shoot me an email at car audio enthusiast with an S at the end at gmail.com and we'll talk then. That's better. It's a better way of doing it. Jay Shipes, thinking about changing out my Yunlong LTO for Skib. A lot of people like Skib. I haven't had a chance to really dig into it, so I can't speak on that. LTOs are solid. The Yunlongs, the Yunlongs is what Excess Power and all those guys, they're all using Yunlong cells. All of them. So do what you will with that information. Man, I used to like bourbon in my freaking Diet Coke. It's been a long time though. Yo, Robert, what's up, man? What's slapping? We slapping it, baby. Slapping it hard and slapping it fast. Hard and fast. Robert said, I'm running 2 Orion HCCA. I think that's what he meant. SPLX 15s. Okay. On a Crescendo 17K with 4 X-Max lithium 135s with a 400 amp alternator. That's a serious setup. That's a lot of power. A lot of subwoofer. With 3 Victron DC to DC chargers in parallel. So you're dropping the voltage. I'm guessing you're dropping the voltage down from the alternator or you're raising it up. I don't know. You're altering the voltage coming from the alternators using the DC to DC chargers. Or you have an electric vehicle and you're pulling power somewhere else. Not really sure, but cool setup anyway. A lot of power. Mello says you can get a single 40 amp hour Yanlong LTO for $65 and bank 6. So I'm looking to do myself. So you're talking about $65 a sell and then 6 for a bank. That's about right. That's what I was thinking. Between $50 and $80 is kind of where they run. That's still significantly more than $22, and you only need 4 to get a bank. So it's a big difference. I mean, you could build that whole bank for just slightly more than one of those LTO cells. That's what I'm getting at. It's a much better price. The Lev 60s are a really good deal. Yes, I can sort of recommend one. All you need to do is stop by and talk to Carmel. He has a guy in town that does repair amps. He can get you to hold to that guy. That's the best information I can give you. If you know who Carmel is, ask him that question. He'll give you a guy. I don't know the guy's name or anything, but I know where to find that information at. Carmel. Oh, no problem, Emmett. Yeah, I have a discount code. It's customspeakerpods.com as well, and it is CAE. Saves you money there too. And if you're trying to put door speakers together and you ain't into building the whole thing, you want them to look cool but not have to build that whole crazy thing, customspeakerpods.com is absolutely a good solution for your door panel needs or your A-pillar needs. I'm still running the A-pillar pods in my Tahoe. And Troy has the door pods in his vehicle. So yeah, I've had real good luck with them. Love them. You can hear your, yeah, I know. I dropped it on you. And he's like, that's cool. Now he's in full mad scientist mode. Stu's like, oh shit, let me see if I can find all the stuff. I love it, dude. Can you make a segment on the battery you were talking about making earlier? I need to go to school on that. I need to go to school. I can make a segment on that. Yes, I can make a video on that, and I probably will. But I still need to learn as much as I can about it before I'm trying to teach other people. Right now, I'm just kind of sharing what I've learned so far with you guys. It's not a master class on building a battery with a Lev 60 cell by any means, because I'm not qualified to do that. But I'm working on it. So give me time to get my brain tidied up and get all the information correct in my head, not just a bunch of hoopla, because that's what you get. But real information, real actionable information that makes people safe. I don't want anybody blowing their shit up or burning it down or any combination thereof. So I want to make sure that I'm giving good information when I'm giving that information. And yes, I will be considering that. I've been thinking about it because it's pretty cool so far. Let's see here. Troy said, if you find a good amp repair guy, yeah, I know there's Troy. We got one. So hush, you old bastard. And if you want, Troy, if you want to know before, if you want another source, talk to Chris. Chris knows the guy too. He knows where he lives. I installed 6-port. Oh shit. Okay, 6-port fuse panel late night. Woke up for work. A short of yours popped up on my TV. You had the same one. I clicked on it. For you to show me. I need different fuses. Oh shit! I got a feeling you installed the 6 slot mega fuse holder and realized A&L fuses won't work. Well, brother, when I ordered it, I did the same thing. I figured it out though because I had somebody in chat tell me, "Hey, you know what? Those that won't work with the A&L fuses." And yeah, so I had to replace them. But anyway, I appreciate it, brother. I took it and ran with it. I ordered some mega fuses and I was good to go. I don't know. Probably not, though. I think it's a different guy. I don't know. Popped up saying, "Said delivered day. I ordered them, but I went to work and then they were at my house when I arrived home from work." Hell yeah, bro. Hey man, I appreciate the comment. Thank you. Thank you for joining the live show and thank you for subscribing. I hopefully you subscribed. I'm glad I helped you out. You should have been around yesterday morning when the coffee kicked in and I realized what all I could integrate with that PC in my Tahoe we talked about last week. Right? You can get absolutely crazy with that. You can so look into what I want you to do now. I'm going to take you to a whole nother level. There are control boards that you can output from your PC that can physically flip switches. So you can have a program running on your PC that can literally do anything you can dream up with relays and shit. Power up anything. And yeah, it's just output boards that plug into your PC and output the ability to send signals. So you can use those signals to flip relays and do all kinds of stuff. It gets insane the further around that rabbit hole you go. Troy said, "I love my speaker pods. Not too many people like them. That's at stoplights." Yeah, still the Troy is the other half of the Beards of Bass or Bass Beard Garage. That's you know what we're gonna have. We're gonna have a segment, Troy. I'm gonna have to put together a weekly segment where we both go online at the same time and talk shit. Just because, or maybe it'll just be an every now and then thing. And it said if you're trying to build an LEB 60 bank, you can go get bus bars. I've already looked at Jim's Machine Works. Yep, I've already checked those out. I don't care for those bars. I looked at a bunch of different people's bars. What I'm wanting to do, if I do one for some reason or another, and I am perfectly happy with the batteries I have, but I'm itching to do it just because. I don't know why. Just because I want to build something. But what I want to do is take those same cells and arrange them in a similar fashion to the way people do the CMAX packs, the pouches. Okay. So basically, a bar of negative, and then a connector bar, which is positive, and then negative, then the batteries, and another connector bar, and then at the end a bar of positive. So it would be that square kind of a setup with big huge bars running down the middle and on the sides, connecting everything in series and then in parallel. That's what I got in mind. And I haven't seen anybody building those kind of setups. I've seen a whole lot of stuff that's built for individual stick, with little bars to connect them. So I'll probably end up doing a custom bar pack of some sort or something like that. I'm going to dig into that more, but that's kind of what I got in my brain. If we did an internet, if we add internet in the vehicle, yes, that opens up alarm, cameras, DVR, surround speakers. Yep, processor, Dolby Atmos, and even could print out business cards from the glove compartment. And if you have a vehicle that's like 2015 or so and newer, the OnStar system in those Chevrolet vehicles specifically has the capability of having a hotspot turned on. And if you call them up to get it turned on, it works through Verizon. And if you wheel and deal with them, you can get it pretty cheap. You can get an unlimited plan for pretty cheap. And then you can use that to power your internet in the vehicle. So yeah, it would literally be built into the vehicle. The vehicle would recognize it when the cube's on, and you'd have a hotspot. In fact, the hotspot on my Chevy truck would work for like 30 something hours after I turned the vehicle off. So even whenever I'm parked for any length of time, As long as you drive it daily, your internet's always on that thing. So if you have a computer running in there and it's got power, it'll still have access to the internet the entire time. More bugs in your ear, bro. But even without that, you can always order the Jetpack from Verizon, which is its own little internet box, and mount that somewhere in there, and it gives you a internet source to which you can connect to. My buddy used to run one of those in his truck all the time. It's a big truck. Appreciate you answering my questions earlier. I've been a subscriber for a little over a month and have watched your battery videos over and over again. Getting ready to build my next system, 1 to 12, 4 kilowatts. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but thank you. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'm helpful. I'm doing all I can to be as helpful as I can. I try to always say, if you're researching into something, I may have good information, but also dig around and find out what you can. Look for other stuff. Find more information, because when you're messing with these batteries, you need to do it the right way to make them safe, right? You need to always do it the right way. So I may not have every single bit of information about that battery, this battery, or this other battery. So whenever you get from me, use it to power you to learn more stuff and get as much information as you can, so that you're always nice and safe. 2003, yeah, you're not going to have it in there for sure. I don't even think 2010 had them. But you can always get the Verizon Jetpack. Just check out the Verizon store and look for the Jetpacks. You don't even have to have a pre-existing account. You can just go to the store and they can sell you one and give you a data plan for it. All you do is put power on it, and it does the internet. And everybody carries them, but I suggest getting the Verizon one. You're going to have the best coverage from them. There you go, Troy. What's your Facebook? 3D, like I said, hit my email up, caraudioenthusiast@gmail.com, and send me an email and we'll talk. We'll get in touch. Can you talk about amps? It moved. Can cheap amps sound as good as expensive amps? Sure. And equipment doesn't have to be expensive to be awesome. In fact, I work with Slaps Audio, and everything about Slaps is inexpensive. And I have had nothing but 100% good luck with their stuff. And let's just go over here and we'll go do a little digging. Let me go pull up, and I'll show you some of the things that are available at Slaps Audio. So, amplifiers wise, and I run these amps, so I know what they do. I haven't had any dealings with these yet. These amplifiers here, these SDCDs. So I can't speak on them really, but I do know that Alan says they make more than their power and they're solid amps. So I would say they're probably a good bet and definitely not expensive. However, my preference is the Shock line, and the Shock 5K is $300. The Shock 3K is $189. And the ones that I'm running, 2 of these Shock 8Ks. And this is an 8,000 watt amplifier that makes its power no problem, and is $369. And then one of my favorite 4 channels is this guy right here. I absolutely love this amplifier, and that's what I'm using behind me to power my whole system, including my subwoofer in my room here. I use this little amplifier right here, and it's $109, and it's absolutely a beast. But if you want to drop serious power, you can pick up the 500.4 over here for your 4-channel needs. And that right there can cover your whole entire build. Those guys right there can cover your whole build. In fact, if you're watching Joseph's video, he's running 2 of these 8Ks. He's running one of these mini 4Ks, mini 4 160.4s. and he's running one of these. Basically, I'm running 2, 1, and 1 of these set up myself. He's running the exact stuff that I'm running as far as power goes, and I swear by them. So this is an excellent place to get awesome quality amplifiers. And if you use discount code CAE, you'll save money on top of an already existing low purchase price. Really, really good stuff. And of course, they have the subwoofers. And I'm running the Oblivion 15s. And they have the Smackdowns too, if you want to get really crazy. But the Oblivion 15s, these guys, and they are $300 a piece, $299 for the version 2 15s. They will do all kind of business. These things are crazy subwoofers with crazy specs. So we have 2,000 watt RMS. I do about 4,000 watt RMS on my subs. And they have a 300 ounce magnet. They have a dual layer Nomex Spider pack. They have a 4-inch, 4-layer black coated voice coil. They are ridiculous subwoofers with 31 millimeters of one-way X-Max, one-way travel. And they are FS at 31 hertz. They play low, they play nasty, and they play loud. And of course, if you are in the market for speakers, Slaps has you covered. I'm running these guys in my doors right now. Love them. And they're $23 a piece on these. I thought it was these are a pair. These are $23 a piece. These little 6.5s. I like these guys. They're $52 a pair. A pair. I am personally running these guys, the 10-inch Street Audio Street Pro Series. So you have these 10s and these 10s. I'm running this one with 1,000 watts of power handling. I'm running 2 of these guys, and they're $104 each. Then you want to get really stupid, you can go to the Pro 12 mid-bass speaker, which has a 4-inch voice coil. This is a mid-range speaker with a 4-inch voice coil. The one I'm running has a 3-inch voice coil. But the prices are absolutely amazing. So do not sleep on Slaps Audio. Remember, use my discount code CAE to save money, more money, whenever you buy something from Slaps. Let's see here. I got to figure out where things moved on me. It always moves. You guys are always leaving comments and everything moves. All right, I'm past that. Yep. Watch over. Thank you for that. Troy. Okay. All right. So, all right. Here we are. So Adam says, try using inexpensive PLC. I use ClickSeries from Automation Direct. I also use an HMI touchscreen in my build. Works great. There you go. Some more information for you, Stu. I haven't gotten into that crazy PC integrations kind of stuff, but I understand how it all works mostly. Yeah, Troy just told you. Troy Swick. What are your thoughts on sundown subs like the X3, 4 Series, M Series, ZV6, 7, Nightshade? They're all excellent subwoofers. That's my thoughts. Excellent subwoofers. I mean, they're 100%. But we spent a whole live show comparing sundown subs to the Slaps Smackdown subs. And spec for spec, the stuff that would actually compare with the Smackdowns was significantly more expensive than the Smackdowns. And they actually go deep into the territory of Sundown's subs. I really didn't expect that, but we went back and forth comparing each individual driver, and they can go really deep into Sundown's lineup and still provide. And those Smackdowns are some wicked subs. Now, I'm running the Oblivions, and they are nasty. You can ask anybody who's had a demo of my shit. But the Smackdowns are next freaking level. So I think they're awesome. I also think they're overpriced. You know, that's my personal opinion. I run Slaps. I've had offers from Sundown. I could run Sundown gear, and I'm not. I could run B2 audio gear. I could do a whole B2 build, but they don't represent the demographic that I work with, which is budget minded people. I don't think that most of the B2 gear is priced fairly. I think it's overpriced. Now, the B2 DSP, good price on a great piece of equipment. I'm running one of those myself. I recommend them all the time. But across the board, I think B2 charges more than they should. I think Sundown charges more than they should. So this is just my opinion, not the gospel, right? But I'm hoping you were asking for my opinion, and I'm giving it to you. Okay, will 140 square inches be enough port area for 415 scars? Oh shit, you're asking me freaking math questions now. I think that's somewhere in the ballpark of being right, but I would need to dig into SCAR specifically to those specific subwoofers, and the box volume and all that information needs to be present and accounted for. But you're in the ballpark. I'm thinking probably 160 is the right number, but just note that as long as it's not making noise, a smaller port is definitely going to give you more port velocity, which means more air moving. But you have to limit that shrinkage to the point to where it's not making noise. If the port starts making its own noise, then you have a problem. So you got to err on the side of caution when it comes to shrinking that volume down. But a smaller port is going to be windier. That's the key. So I don't know. I'd have to dig into it. And that's really not my strongest area. I kind of have a little bit of knowledge there. I defer to smarter people whenever I'm figuring that out. I have a general idea, and then I defer to people that have more intelligence than myself to check my work. And that's what you're trying to do. But the source that you're going after is not one of those people. You need to go above my head to get real good numbers on that. LTOs are the safest of lithium batteries. Sure. They're the ones that can take the most abuse. 100% agree with you. But they're not the most efficient. They're also bulkier, and they're also more expensive. It's give and take. Everything has a give and a take. But yes, I agree. Fire Sundown, slaps. But if you're making me pick between Fire and Sundown, I would pick Sundown. The brand. Only because Jacob Fuller's one hell of a dude, and he knows his shit. And what's funny is if you specifically said like Sundown ZV6s or Phi whatever, specific to subwoofer specifically, I could message Jacob Fuller and ask him, and he would give me an honest answer. He would be like, "Oh well, the Phi would be better because it's got this much more of this and this much more of this." So, but you're comparing one thing to something else that doesn't really line up. He would say that. Jacob Fuller is a straight dude. So if I had to pick between the two brands, I'd pick Sundown all day long. But if you're giving me the option of adding my own brand to that, I would definitely pick Slaps. You're going to get way more for your money. But if you just like giving money away, then give it to the guys at Sundown. Because they build good shit. Bobby said, why? Oh boy. Yeah, Robot Underground. I refer to him as the android in a cave. And I don't like saying bad things about people, especially on the internet. Even though he made a video once specifically talking 9 kinds of shit about me. I still don't like talking bad about people. But how do I say this? Fuck him. That's how I say it. Try to say it nicely. That's my best. That's the best nice I could do. I have lots of different apps, cheap and expensive, and I'm really liking amps. Lots of different amps, cheap and expensive. He's really liking them. Yeah, absolutely. But I can't. I recommend them because it's good shit. Okay, it's good shit. You're not going to come back and go, man, that thing's a piece of junk. Trust me, it's good shit. Slaps make great gear. 3D, I've been looking at Slaps audio lately. I blew a DS18 3K. Of course you did. And a DS18 5K. Of course you did. Use one of my mid amps for my subs currently. Yep, I've done that. Just need more research on them. But if you recommend, yeah, dude. Like I said, get a hold of me. Email me. I'll check your email out. We'll talk. You can come listen to them for yourself and decide what you want to do. That's the best way I can put it. Okay. I'll run my system, not my mouth. That's my motto. What is Stu talking about? Rule of thumb for daily sub setups. Daily sub setups is 12 to 16. Okay, here you go. Attention port area per cubic foot of internal airspace. Listen to what Stu says. Joseph, pay attention. Stop what you're doing for a second. Read Stu's comment. Okay? Read this. This is the answer to your question. Stu says, for daily sub setups, 12 to 16 inches of port area per cubic foot of airspace. Okay? Read it. Thank you. Thank you, Stu. Paper Sly. That's an interesting play on Paper Sky. I like it. Does adding multiple connections to a run add resistance? Will ohm load increase? It can, but if it really does, the connections were shit to begin with. I don't like the set screw connections like on amplifiers where you stick the wire in and tighten the screw down. I don't like them. We got to deal with them on amplifiers. But for anything but that, I recommend this. If you use these, and if you put these two copper lugs on the same connector and put a bolt on there, that sucker is about as good of a connection as you're ever going to get. It's solid copper to copper. It's going to give you a solid connection. You can string these up in a series all day long as you get the connection, the lugs crimped good and tight, and everything's tightened down, good copper to copper metal connections. You shouldn't see any real voltage drop over a length of that. You will see some, though. It's kind of inevitable. You can see that over a solid wire with no connections in it at all. Joseph says, same port area, but for the SmackDowns, because that is what will go in the Kia in a few months. Sexy. So, yeah, you could build it for I don't know what you got running, what you're going to run in there until then or whatever, but you're going to love them SmackDowns. I haven't run them myself, but I've seen them in action, and I know what the Oblivions do. So they're going to blow your freaking mind, dude. Oh, and as a side note, whenever I do my next little refresher, I'm probably going to be running them. Not because the Oblivion version 2s are bad, because they are solid, but just because I can, right? So yeah. Every connection is going to at least add the potential for added resistance. Sure. Yes. What I said. 100%. 22 cubic feet of airspace. Hell yeah, bro. Always looking out. Definitely look into slaps. That's the thing. I get it. I don't mind spending money on quality. But I haven't seen anything but quality from Slaps. Like, they may not be this boutique brand that everybody knows, but every piece of gear I've tested, and I beat the shit out of everything. Do I need to play that video again? Do I even have it up? Look, this is just today, just goofing off today. I'm going to play it one more time, just in case you guys didn't see this. All right. Just goofing off today. I'm going to play this. Hold on. Let me mute my mic. It ain't running. We got it turned off right now. It's all battery.
Pressure way roll like a blacktop kiss. Glass vibrate till it blur your picture. Hurricane hum in the box I'm building. Every brace wall got a story I'm gilding. Breathe that dust, it'll cave your lungs. And vortex spinning like a salt blade buzz. And storm on deck when the hands start pushing. Waves so deep, make the asphalt cushion.
Guys, I don't coddle my shit. I beat the shit out of it, okay? I mean, I beat it hard. If it don't blow up in my Tahoe, it's not going to blow up in your ride either, unless you do something ridiculous that's completely wrong, and it still might live through that. So Troy had his alternator, his regulator all went crazy, and he was doing 17 volts on everything. And the amps turned off, but they were still fine. As soon as they powered it back up, the B2 DSP fired right back up. All the amps fired up. Everything worked perfectly. Nothing was hurt. You know, crazy, crazy stuff, dude. I mean, like I said, I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm speaking from what I know. And this isn't me selling you on some freaking idea. This is me sitting here with all of this Slaps gear in my Tahoe, doing hours of demos back to back, beating it as hard as I can, and it just keeps coming back for more. All right. I'm recommending shit because it takes a whooping and it sounds great doing it. That's what I'm up to. That's how I roll. That was 24 hertz. I was putting 4,000 watts on each subwoofer at 24 hertz, just to make that perfectly clear. Let's see here. You can do that. Not a problem, man. Like I said, AC doesn't require a big conductor to work. And that's what you're sending to those speakers is AC, alternating current. It's alternating. It's not flowing from one end to the other. It's just wiggling in the wire. And it don't take a big conductor to send AC power. Think about what you send through an extension cord. You know, you send to a big old heater in the bathroom, right? That heater is like 1,500 watts. It's pulling 15 amps at 110 hertz or 60 hertz. It's pulling 15 amps at 60 hertz through a tiny little wire that plugs into that thing. And then that tiny little wire is plugged into the freaking wall where it's running through two small wires running all the way through the house to the breaker box. Small wires on AC power are not a problem. You won't have an issue. The only reason you upgrade that is if you need to add more channels in the door. If you want to add a separate tweeter channel and you put the tweeter in the door and you want to separate it from a mid channel and not run crossovers, actively cross them over on some kind of active crossover, like a DSP, for example, then you might want to run extra wires. If you're not doing that, the wires that exist already will handle all the power you want to send to those speakers. So that's my take. What's up? And by the way, what's up, Chris? As Stu said. GA says, okay, a lot of stuff. Let me start reading this. 112, 3.5 box, about as big as you can get, but mainly focused on solid power supply. 3.5 cubes is a big ass box for a single 12. Now, mind you, that's about what I'm running in this one over here to my left that I play all my music on. But I'm only putting like 300 watts on it. So it's kind of the thing. It depends on the power. You're putting a bunch of power on a sub, you want to shrink that box down quite a bit to keep it in control, or else you're going to wind up slapping your coil against your freaking motor and damaging shit real fast. Slapping the coil against the motor is a very quick way to have to recone a sub. But anyway, 3.5 cubes, but mainly focusing on solid power supply and reserve power for now. Dual runs of 0 gauge, 320 alt, lithium batteries in the trunk, big box tuned to 30 hertz. That is pretty high tuning for that big of a box. Interesting though. I'm wondering how it sounds. I'd have to hear it. But sounds cool though. Sounds real cool. You should be playing lows pretty good, but 30 hertz tuning it with a box that big, I'd be tuning down deep, man. I'd be using up some of that airspace and putting a much longer port in there and bringing that sucker down to the like 28, something like that. 30 is a little bit high for me. I'd prefer it be a little bit lower. Add some more length to that port and consume some of that airspace. You'll probably play a lot lower with more authority. But having said that, sounds like a nice setup anyway. And yes, the slaps is slapping for real. And by the way, guys, I want to point this out too. That box is tuned at around 29 hertz is where it's tuned at. That's 24 hertz. I'm on the very edge. I'm pretty much unloaded at that point. Pretty much unloaded. So what you're seeing is the slaps subwoofers taking double their RMS power, pretty much free air on 24 hertz. I cannot stress how freaking insane that is, but they do. Nobody is breaking the power side down of this game like you. I appreciate you, brother. I do the very best I can to provide all the information that I contain. And then I try to steer you towards places where you can get more information if you should choose. GA, you may not need 2 runs of alt gauge for that setup. It won't hurt anything electrically to do so, but it hurts the pocketbook. I agree. But I've learned something, Stu. Let me point out something. I never correct Stu because Stu's on top of his shit. However, I will amend his statement just a little bit. I have learned this, and recently I have learned this. So here's the thing I learned. Let me just tell you the material that I had to consume that gave me a different perspective on that. I'm going to tell you the information that I gathered, not from the internet, but from real life. So running 2 power runs, pulling, I got to get back a little bit. I want to make sure I give you the right information. I was running a single power run from a 370 amp alternator to the battery bank in the back. Then I was running all the power runs from the bank to the amplifier. This was happened because I had taken the fuse out of one of my power runs. So I was only running 1 power run. And my power significantly dropped out of everything. My overall power dropped. My dB score was lower, and during the middle of the run, I blew that fuse that was run on that 1 power run. I blew a 400 amp fuse. That's one key piece of information. Running both fuses, both power runs, I don't blow the fuse, and my power went up overall, output-wise. Mind you, I'm running 2 Trunk Thunder Lithium 10K version 3 or version 2 batteries. Right at 200 amp hours of nice lithium. And I'm running a cap bank on that as well. So I have like a 500 farad cap bank plus those 2. And I saw the power drop when the alternator only had 1 wire versus 2. That's the point I'm making. The second thing is, whenever I added another ground wire to a different location, I gained some output. I actually gained dB on the glass by adding a freaking ground wire to my setup. I'm noticing more and more that, and here's the other part, whenever a lot of amperage is flowing through a wire. Now, I don't totally understand this part, so this is kind of, take this with a grain of salt, okay? But when you put a lot of amperage on a cable, it kind of, I don't know what the word would be, it restricts the voltage flow a little bit. It actually reduces the voltage that can go through that cable. And I'm not sure I understand exactly how that works, but it does happen. Whenever you're running through a cable, you need to have enough conductor that you never had that happen. So having that amperage split up on two cables, everything seems to work better. So even though one cable is capable of handling the power from point A to point B, you may get more actual transfer using two cables. That's what I'm saying. So just throwing that out there. I had the same thoughts that Stu did. If it don't get hot, it's conducting fine, it's fine. And I always temp check all my stuff. I use a temp gun to check my connections, check my cable runs, check everything in the power circuit. I do that on a constant basis to make sure things are not getting hot anywhere. There's no loose connections. I check everything with a temp gun after playing it real hard or while playing it real hard. And I haven't noticed any real bottlenecks like that. But adding an extra power wire and extra ground wire and stuff like that did affect my output on the glass on the meter. So it's definitely changing things, not to mention the fact that I could tell it was louder. So there's something to be said for stupid amounts of power runs. That's the point I'm trying to make. But you do your own research. Oh, yeah. Are you checking out my playlist, Chris? Pros and cons, 4-channel versus full bridge. That's two different, that's an apple and an orange. T. Corley says pros and cons, 4-channel amp versus full bridge. Full bridge and a half bridge are two different types of amplifiers. And a 4-channel is a completely different setup from a monoblock. So I can't really compare those two to what you're saying. I know you meant something else, but that's what I got from it. As far as half bridge versus full bridge, there's a ton of differences in how they work. But how your ear works with them, the only way you'll ever hear a difference is if you know there's a difference. If you know one or the other is which. You can't hear the difference in those two amplifiers. And here's another kicker for you. You could take the cheapest amplifier you can find, the most crappy bargain bin basement amplifier, and set the gain up to where it's producing the same exact amount of power with the same signal and everything as the most expensive subwoofer amplifier you can possibly find, the very best of the best. And you won't be able to tell which one is playing on a sub. There's no difference. As long as they're both putting the same amount of power out, they're going to sound identical. There's just no difference. And even a scope or something monitoring the signal won't see a difference. There's the same damn thing is happening. So watch that marketing wink, man. But I ain't sure what your question was. Hopefully I answered it, maybe. Okay, sweet. Sweet. I'm stuck on Lizzo right now for setting sub amp gains at the shop. I have horrible habits when it comes to setting up gains, man. I'm gonna tell you. For my own personal stuff, I set them way in clipping, and then I control how much power I'm sending to it with my bass knob. I basically set the gain per each song. But that's a horrible way of doing things. Don't do what I do. That's taking your own. You got to have a good ear for doing that because you can push it too far. I know where I'm at. I know what it sounds like. I can back it down. I control that with my bass knob. But that's a horrible way of doing things. I can tell you a bunch of ways to inexpensively set gains if you want to set without clipping. And one of the cheapest ways to do it is to use a capacitor and a speaker. So, and this is a legit 100% way of setting a gain. Find a speaker, any speaker. You can use a pair of headphones, an old pair of Hello Kitty headphones, whatever. You could use a little speaker like this little Sundowns I have up by my desk that I always got right here, little Sundowns. Something like this will work just fine. These are little Sundown SA 2.75s that I've had sitting over here forever. Anyway, a little speaker like that and a capacitor that can handle the voltage. So whatever your voltage output of your amplifier is, you need a capacitor that's rated at a higher voltage than that. If you don't have any idea, just go with like a 200, 300 volt capacitor. Now, on your output from your amplifier, where your speakers connect, where your subwoofers connect, run one of those wires through that capacitor and then run the other wire beside it and hook both wires up to your little speaker. Start turning the gain up on your amplifier with, when you know, if you got whatever track you're going to do, 30 hertz, 40 hertz, whatever you're tuning it at. Have that sucker kicking out full power on your head unit, maximum volume wherever you set that maximum volume at. Have that sucker going. Have the amp, have your amp turned all the way down. Have your bass boost and all that crap turned down. Have your EQ set where you want it, and you slowly turn that gain up. And right when you get to clipping, you'll start hearing a noise come through that speaker. You won't hear any sound coming through it other than maybe a faint hum. But as soon as you get to where it starts clipping, you'll start hearing it make noise. Back your gain back down until you're not hearing that sound anymore, and it's set. It's rock solid. What you're hearing is the clipping signal. You're not hearing the bass because your capacitor is filtering that. What you're hearing is the actual clip, the sound of the clip coming past that filter to that speaker. So you can hear the clip in the speaker. Turn it up till it's making a little bit and back it back down till that little sound goes away. You can put an O-scope on it and it's going to read perfectly clean. That's the really cheap way to set your gains, is a simple capacitor and a speaker or a pair of headphones. Put a headphone on, run the same way. Run the wires, you can hear it in the headphones. And if you want, you can do it with the subwoofers hooked up. You don't even have to unhook your subwoofers. Just put the little wires on terminals or whatever, or on the stick them. You can do it with the subwoofer, but you're going to put the subwoofer through a clipping experience when you do it. But you'll be able to hear it as long as you can hear it over the subs. You'll be able to hear that clip as it comes through that little speaker. It's a brilliant, simple way to check for clipping. Let's see here. I have not been able to finish last week pod. Keep falling asleep. It happens, man. Not TH. Mainly just an advertisement for the 2026 shows. Okay. Happy New Year's. Okay. What's up here? William Biddle. What's up, man? Hadn't seen you guy in a little bit, Mr. Biddle. That's a friggin' sick ass last name. I love that last name. Biddle. It just sounds happy. It's Mr. Biddle. Mr. Biddle cannot be depressed. Not be sad at all. Happy New Year's. How y'all feeling, brother? I am doing fine. Any of you guys have any hobbies or collect anything other than car audio? What the hell are you talking about, man? I collect electrical tape. I collect speakers. I collect cutters. I collect power cables. I collect these. I can go forever, man. I have so much car audio shit. Oh, you said besides car audio. Damn, what up? I do collect empty peanut containers because I eat these whenever I'm watching car audio video. Wait a minute. I don't know, man. I don't know of anything besides car audio, dude. I'm lost. I'm not sure what the world looks like without that in my brain. So I honestly don't have any hobbies besides car audio and YouTube and stuff that's related to car audio, and that's really it, honestly. Oh, wait a minute. I make music for car audio. There you go. Sorry. Still, I'll send you a screenshot of the song I used to test high limits of a system. Cool. Let's see here. Just want you cannot go wrong with overkill on the power, but it's only going to use what's available. It's not like you're going to force this power through the system. It's just it's only going to use what's available. You know, you could have think about it like this. You could have a million amp hours of lithium. It takes up the whole yard. And it puts out 12 volts, say 12 volts, and you put a 12-volt LED light on it, and it would just come on. You're not forcing all that power through that single light bulb. It's only going to take what's available to it. And then it's only going to take what it needs. Now, when you don't have enough, that's when the problems start to rise. So you're 100%, man. Yeah, overdo it because you know you're going to be upgrading at some point anyway. Stu's awesome. I feel a little bit more obligated to help after that. GA. Oh, see, I didn't watch. I didn't. I don't watch sports, so I do know that Ole Miss is a like football team. I guess. Yeah, I don't watch sports. Crying about my dogs getting spanked. Oh, I hate when that happens. Um, we're still talking. Oh, we're still talking sports down here. Let's go on down here. Uh, yeah, that's another point too. I've talked about this in a show before. So, and in fact, I was talking about a short show I did on the that cheap amp, that Vermon's amplifier. But I'll cover it again. So, on the power supply part of your amplifier board, they've got these little outputs. They're little triangular shaped dudes that pop out and make it for you to plug the speaker, the power wires and ground wires into. On that end of the board, what really cools or what really acts as a heat sink for that area is the power cables coming out of the board off the amplifier. So those power cables that are coming out right where they come out of the amplifier, they're actually part of the amplifier's power, thermal power handling ability. It's part of the thermal balancing act that whole system has to do to keep the temperature down. So adding more runs is going to make better cooling right there, which is why those doublers are really good. Running those doublers will actually, you're putting a whole chunk of metal in there that can be used as a heat sink. And so they dissipate that heat better and handle those really high current situations. Especially if you're going to ask an amplifier to do more power than it was rated for, definitely want to put doublers on and run extra cables to that because even if it's overkill in power delivery, it's still very important in thermal maintenance for the amplifier. So yes, I played with one, but I haven't used one. I mean, not I played with one a long time ago. They're very cool. I've seen them in car audio too on a very small scale, but they don't do terribly well because they they're just designed. If you guys don't know, a rotary sub is kind of like it looks a bit like a fan, but the blade tilt is controlled by the frequency that it's trying to play. So think of it as helicopter rotors, and as the frequency starts playing, they twist more and more, and they create very low frequencies extremely well. Like you can play 1 hertz. They typically kind of fall apart above about 20 hertz. So they're really good for that 20 hertz and down. range. They're used in theaters a lot and sometimes in home theaters to give it that super deep low rumble to make that happen. But they're interesting anyway. How they're made is very interesting. But no, I haven't played with one in a long time. And we're both talking about football. Okay. Drill a hole near my gas tank to put an eyelet for a set of chains to hold the trunk down. How much fuel do you think I lose? Not enough, man. I mean, who needs fuel? You're in Australia. You just burn kangaroos. I mean, the little roos are hopping everywhere. Just shove them right in the gas. Wait a minute. I think there's probably laws against that, at least in the United States. I don't know about in Australia. You probably burn kangaroos in Australia. Uh, I'm talking about this, by the way. Dogs will be set up nice. Let's see here. I'm kind of excited to see what kind of we're still talking about the sports. Okay, we get it. I don't know nothing about it. Jay, are you the Jay in chat all the time? Probably. For a get together to watch a game. Yep. What's up, Jay? A white shirt guy. White shirt guy. White shirt guy in the house. The epoxy poker table. Ooh, that sounds fun. Number 2. GM bows. We'll do the same with the clipping. Okay, let's see what Stu is saying here. Do the same with the clipping from aftermarket head unit. I just play 40 hertz sine wave and turn the volume up. The door speakers will go ape shit when the clipping starts. Yep. But that's the signal going to everything. That covers your head unit. It doesn't necessarily cover your subs. Unless your head unit and your subs are on the same amplifier. That doesn't work for that particular scenario. But it's an example of how that works. You can set your mids and highs clipping with that. Whatever amplifier you're setting. But it's a real easy way to make a simple test rig. I mean, how do you think those clipping devices from SMD work? Think about what I told you guys, how I told you to do it, right? It's the same thing. All they're doing in there, instead of using a speaker, is they're using an LED light. So whenever it starts to get a signal, just like the speaker starts to make noise, well, the signal gets past the filter and starts blinking the light. It's really that easy. I like Steve Mead. Don't get me wrong. But just saying, it's not hard to build that device. Live streams. Right. One guy named Joe D. His brother had one of them huge Gately builds. I knew you were in too deep in car audio, my man. Dude, I have no other hobbies. It's just everything is something that's connected to car audio. I mean, the only thing I do outside of that ever is occasionally play a video game. And if I could find a group locally to play with, I would play Dungeons and Dragons with a nice old school D&D with the pen and paper. I love those things, but we don't ever do that anymore. I used to love playing those. And I'm referring to his question here. Oh yeah, Gately builds some really sick ass stuff, dude. He does amazing work. Bobby Gately. Fireworks. Probably have more money in a door than I do in the whole build. Yeah, it's a good possibility. I'm still digging through comments here. Come to Decatur, Georgia. Have a crazy collection of fireworks. They're talking about fireworks. Everybody's talking about fireworks. You guys are funny. Who derailed the chat? Somebody asked, what hobbies you got besides car audio? You realize how dangerous of a question that is? Somebody derailed the chat completely. I love it. They had controller that needed feedback from the sub and wouldn't let it clip. I got you. My music source. What is he saying here? GA says, if my music source has clipping recorded in it, is there a way to safely tune it out? No. If it's a clip signal, it's just going to be a clip signal. So you can't stop a clip signal, but that kind of a clip signal doesn't necessarily cause as much issues as one coming out of your amplifier created by the amplifier. And I have a lot of fucking shit about clip signals and why it's not the be all end all of a subwoofer. All right. So there's a really interesting group of people out here that love to argue with me over this. So bear with me a second. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to show you guys something. We're going to talk about clipping a little bit. I'm going to talk about some sine waves. So let's click this button. Now we're going over here. We get everything moved around. All right. This is Audacity for you guys who don't know what this is. It's an audio manipulation program. We're going to generate a 30 hertz frequency. Now, wait, I need to generate something you guys can actually hear. So we're going to make it a 80 hertz frequency. Oh my God, this will be annoying. That's an 80 hertz frequency. Now we're going to zoom in on this. Wrong direction. You see the sine wave here, right? This is what a sine wave looks like. I know, class, pay attention. Stop playing with your pencils. Jimmy, spit her out. You cannot eat other children. All right, pay attention. Got everyone's attention. Okay, so now we've got our little sine wave. Notice it's not clipped. Let's play it. That's what that sounds like. Okay, that's why we don't play 80 hertz, because 80 hertz is a stupid ass frequency. But let's go deeper now. What we're going to do is we're going to amplify this until it's clipping. And we're going to do it this way first. So we're going to go to Effect, Volume and Compression. We're going to hit Amplify, and it says we can go to 1.9 but without clipping, but we're going to go way past that. Now we are in hard freaking clip. Okay? This is a massively clip signal. Let's listen to that. Now notice your earphones or headphones or your speaker in your phone did not explode when I played that sound. It did not melt down. It's not dead. Okay? It did not die. Amazing, isn't it? It's a clip signal. I mean, it is a very, very, very extremely clip signal. But it didn't kill anything because that's not what kills shit. All right? I'm wanting to put this out there for you guys to understand just how wonky this whole clipping thing is. Now, if we go back and edit that, undo amplify, let's do it again. I'm going to show you a lesser version of that. We're going to go to Effect, and we're going to go to Volume, and we're going to go to Amplify again, and we're going to just kind of squeeze it into clipping. Now, this is a lightly clipped signal. You notice how it highlights the clip? That's showing that there's a clip. Let's zoom in here and look at this. You can see that this wave is being cut off right here. It's flat right there, and it's flat right here. What's it sound like? It sounds like a slightly dirty signal, a slightly dirty sound wave. This would make your clip light go bananas on your amplifier if the amplifier was gained up to the point where this was happening. What's funny is you can play this signal over your amplifier and it will not turn your clip light on because the amplifier is not clipping. It's reproducing a signal that it's getting. Now, if you listen to a rock and roll guitar that's distorted all to hell, you're getting massive, massive, massive clips. So if we do another thing here and we generate another tone, but this time instead of that, we're going to generate a sawtooth. Now you see what that looks like? That does not look healthy for your subwoofer, does it? That looks terrible for your subwoofer. What does it sound like? Sounds a little bit like a rock and roll guitar. It's got that distortion in it. This signal also will not blow up your subwoofer. It might make your wife want to murder you in about 3 seconds, but it will not blow up your subwoofer. Your subwoofer will, if this signal was a lower frequency, it would just play it. Okay? It would play it. It'd make the sound. So what happens? Where is the clipping happening? That's the important question. Not that there is clipping, but where it's at. So if your subwoofer is pushing past its limits and it's trying to play a signal that is clean coming in, right? It's a clean signal coming in, but it's too much and your subwoofer can't reproduce that sine wave. It will mechanically hit the end of the travel for the spider and mechanically possibly impact the motor. That is physical clipping. That is your subwoofer bottoming out or clipping the signal. It's not riding the signal, it's clipping it off because it can't ride the signal. It's too big for the subwoofer. That's clipping. That absolutely will tear your subwoofer all to shit. Another variant of clipping would be if your amplifier is pushing into that rail where its normal operating band is too small for the signal trying to be produced, i.e., the amp will show that it's clipping because its signal is getting chopped off the top and bottom. That's horribly bad for your amplifier at high volumes and whatnot. It will not do that very long. And it's rough on the subwoofer. But it's not the be-all, end-all of a subwoofer. And putting a clip signal in from your head unit, it's the amplifier is not clipping. The signal is. I just showed you a clip signal from a head unit being played over whatever speaker you're planning on. That speaker is not melted down. It's not destroyed. And it won't be. I could play this signal all day and it would just drive my wife and my cats and myself totally crazy, but it would not destroy any equipment. It's all in where it's at and what you're doing. There's lots of things that are missing in that. The thing that people do, though, that kills their shit, anybody that's pushing an amplifier to the point of clipping is also probably doing a lot of other dumb shit too. You're trying to put way more power out of that amplifier than it's designed for. You're pushing everything right to the bleeding edge limit, and that usually ends up causing damage. Does the clipping actually cause the damage? Or is it the other stuff that goes along with that clipping that causes the damage? I know what everyone says. I know I'm probably wrong, okay? I'm probably completely wrong about this. But I have been clipping the shit out of subwoofers for the last 20 years or more, and I've yet to melt down a voice coil from that. So take that with a grain of salt. That's all I can say. It's not what the common wisdom is. It's not what everyone will tell you. It's probably not even true, but it's my opinion. And I like to be straightforward and honest, and I'm just being honest. My head unit is on my phone, Bluetooth module on to DSP. That's what I use. Sort of. That's what I've been using for like 3 years, but I'm changing my game up now because of just reasons. I'm a bass head. I just do things because, I need to do something, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I did Wise Up and just have one phone for music. Yeah, I need to do that too. It would about blow my tweeters if a call came in. Yeah, I have to turn on all of my devices. I turn off all alerts. I don't want any audible alerts from anything coming over. And I only get phone calls from people that are in my contacts. So everybody else automatically gets my voicemail. So my phone almost never rings. But yeah, yeah. There's a lot of extra frequencies at that clip signal, though. There is for sure. But now in this clip signal, there's only what you see. That's it. It's showing you a digital visual example of exactly what that sound wave is. It's 100% exactly what you see. So a recorded clip signal won't play like a tuned amplifier giving a clip signal. Yes, correct. It will sound like shit, and that's the other thing. It's going to sound like shit. You don't really want to sound like shit. So I have to go through a lot of work to make sure that my mixes, the songs that I create, are not clipped. I send out nothing but 100% clean stuff. Should I show you guys? I don't know if I have an example. And I may end up showing you one that I haven't worked on all the way through, but let's just pull one up here. What have I got that's okay? Hang on. I'm going to show you guys. I'll show you one of my songs because, I believe in being thorough. Let me pull up a track that I don't have released yet. We'll just throw this one in here. Caddy Thunder. Good example. So on this track, you can see the frequency range. Now, you can see that I don't have anything that runs past this clip. It's all clean as hell. Nothing is pushing past the top of here. And you want to hear this track? It's a pretty good track. I'll play some of it for you. Hang on, I'll play a little bit of this track. I'm going to get some fresh new stuff.
Roll up clean in the Escalade. Banking that bank, all the money I make. Subwoofers lined up in the back. Dropping that bass in my Cadillac. The street can't handle my pressure weight, but the ladies step up when my system plays. I ain't got gold, I ain't got no bag, but I'm in control, ain't wearing no rags. Roll out hard with a West Coast beat. Dropping that hammer out on the street. I roll clean, be a night all day, but you can hear me coming from a block away. Work all day to pay my way. Bill not bought, no work, no play. When you hear the thunder from down the street, I paid the price, now let me be. Cadillac thunder, dropping down that bass on the street. Cadillac thunder, feel the power, feel the heat. Cadillac thunder, how we do it down in the south. Cadillac thunder, run your system, close your mouth.
So yeah, let me restate that because I was being stupid. I have my mic on mute. Thank you. 20 to 24 hertz. That's low. I got some stuff that's in that range on my. What I was saying was, yeah, I know, I caught it. Y'all have a delay behind me, so it's all good. Go to any streaming service that you have, any streaming service, period. Type in Car Audio Enthusiast with an S at the end, all one word, all together, and you'll find all the stuff I've uploaded. And I've got a bunch of high quality sound that that will sound great and drop some serious bass, and it's all royalty free. So If you want to use, I'm not royalty free, but if you want to use it in a video or whatever, that's totally fine. I won't complain about it. The only thing I would bitch about is if you literally uploaded the entire song as its own standalone thing and claimed that it was yours. That I would complain about. Any other use, I won't say a word. So you're welcome to use it to do videos or whatever you want to do. I won't have any problem with it. And I think there's something in there that you'll like. I have a wide variety of bass-oriented music. It's all original stuff. You'll find something in there you like, guaranteed. And I released the first 3 albums for the demo stuff was mostly kind of in the mid to high 20s up into the low 30s. I did release an album called In the 30s, the last one that went out, and it's all like 30 hertz and up, mainly like 31 hertz and up, pretty much. So, and I've got most of the other stuff is a mixture down in the 20s. I got some tracks that are in the 24 or 26 stuff too. So I have something for everybody in that list. So have fun with that. Let's see here. Stu said there was a lot of extra frequencies. So recorded clip signal, yeah. What's up, man? Adam All. Okay, trying to figure out a cool way to think about that. I love these weird names. Sometimes they have really cool stuff out. Since they're bringing back memories, I have my set of Aura bass shakers I used under the seats to assist with my 10-inch woofer while my focal front stage played beautifully. The bass shakers, the old transducers. That's what they are. They're just big-ass transducers. Essentially, guys, if you don't know what a bass shaker is, imagine if you put a subwoofer and took the cone away and just put a little weight inside there on the voice coil so that whenever the voice coil moved, it would cause this intense vibration, kind of like a washing machine on a spin cycle. And you bolt that down to your floor in your car. It causes the whole area there to just vibrate. And you feel these deep, deep guttural lows that your speakers aren't actually producing. They used to use them in movie theaters and other stuff, and sometimes they still do. They use them in the little controllers, the little game controllers to make them vibrate. Same thing, but bigger. It's essentially a transducer, but not really a... Anyway, I won't dig deep into that, but it's basically a transducer. But yeah, they're cool. Good morning, Stacy said. Stace Boris. Status Boris. Okay. My dyslexia kicked in. Good morning, sir. GA said, that's a problem, Jay. I like it loud. Keep the gain down, volume up. Ooh. Pyro Dog, you should come out to Caffeine and Octane in Kennesaw. Oh, I do crazy stuff here in Springfield, Missouri. The SQ guys bitch about clipping because it's not the original signal anymore. The SQ guys bitch about everything. I know a bunch of them, and they complain about everything. But your ear gets, when you do that all the time, your ear gets so tuned in. And I have to do that whenever I'm mixing and mastering, when I'm doing the production side of what I do. So I have to play that SQ. Think I'm listening to everything. I'm listening for any little thing that's off, and I have to fix it. So whenever I release a track, it's as close to being an SQ qualified track as you can get with having a lot of bass. But they get picky because their ear gets so tuned in that they hear the tiniest thing and it drives them batshit crazy. And typically they're SQ guys because they normally listen to music that critically anyway. So they choose to build a system where that is, it plays well with their brain, right? And I am definitely not an SQ guy, but I understand them. We feed them and we keep them in a cage in the basement with the hookers. that we keep in the basement. So let's keep going. Um, when the build is done, you'll find my Acura trying to blow the trunk off. I like the Acura. Acura's a good car. I blew my sunroof out of the truck about 18 months ago. Luckily, I had some Gorilla Tape to get it home. To get home, yeah, no kidding. I built a roof inside my cab so that my sunroof doesn't explode. And yeah, it absolutely will. But I had to put a plywood. I did a lot of stuff. I have multiple videos on solving that problem with the sunroof. I wish the hell I didn't have one, but it's there. You can't see it, but it's up there. I'm 100% SPL. SQ is nice, but pointless in my eyes. Fair. Give me good sounds inside and crazy bass all day. Hell yeah. JLW7SQ guy. I like the sub. It's a good sub. Yeah, it's not going to get stupid loud, but it does. It is a smooth sub. 100%. It's a good sub. I think it's out of date now. I think the JLW7 doesn't really bring anything to the party anymore compared to even some of the lower price stuff out there. I don't think you tell the difference between them. When the W7 came out, though, it was a bit of a freaking amazing subwoofer, kind of like the Stroker. Um, it was a whole new game changing subwoofer. But today, put it up against even a pretty inexpensive subwoofer the same size and the same box, it's not going to be anything different about it. They're going to sound pretty much the same. So JL was ahead of their game back then when they were pushing the envelope on development and stuff. Now it's just kind of chilling in the back. It's not that impressive. It's like, take this for example. 1969 Roadrunner with a big ass V8 in it, right? Bitchin' car. At the time, that thing was a certifiable nightmare. It would destroy all kinds of stuff. Today, there's many minivans on the road that would outrun it and outperform it in every metric. 0 to 60, 0 to 100, top speed, faster braking, better handling, everything. The game just changed. So even though it was wicked cool, badass at its time, even for years after its time, by today's standards, it's not even close. I would still rather have that car than the minivan, but performance wise, it doesn't stack up. It makes a whole lot of noise. It's just technology is just kind of developed and things have moved on. And what was amazing then is nothing now. So, and that goes that way for everything, except for women. Women have gone downhill. Now we'll leave that one alone. Let you guys think about that. Women have definitely gone downhill, except that they shave now. Back the 70s was a hairy time, a very, very hairy, scary time. But yeah, I don't need to get into this conversation. I don't need to go there. I'm going to leave that one alone. Okay. Let's see. Funny how you guys talk about caddies, but I drive a caddy, but it ain't no Cadillac. Okay. Gotcha. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but okay. A lot of work with guitar and amps. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's just, I don't get it. Troy's heading out, it looks like. Have a good night, Troy. It's been real having you around, brother. Some like concerts, some like clubs and raves. I'm reading Stu's comment. Some like a quiet room with music and at an easy level. Yeah, I feel you. I like a little bit of everything. I almost always like my shit pretty loud though. I don't typically listen to really soft music. I want it to be. I'm more of a blues club. Have you guys ever been to a club where they played blues? That's a whole nother level of awesome, dude. Really, really good club where all they're playing is blues. I'm not a huge blues fan, but I love the sound of a good blues band and a nice small atmosphere, nice small closed in little club. It's very relaxing. I agree with you, Jay Shipes. That would be cool. I actually considered doing one. I was going to do a tricky thing whenever before. Hey, so here's what my plan was. I'll tell you guys what it was. I was planning on building a 6-order build in the Tahoe this winter. Last winter. I didn't. But what I was going to do was before I tore everything out, I was going to cut open the wall that I have now. It's a ported wall. I was going to cut it open and seal up the port and create a wall between the front and the back of the Tahoe and turn it into one big freaking free air, thing. And just do some testing and see what kind of pressure I could get. And then once I'd done all the testing and some listening stuff, I was going to pull all out and build. I was going to do a halfway tear out just to see what things sounded like. To do an infinite baffle kind of a thing and just see what I got out of it. I wanted to test that theory. But I didn't end up doing that. So we rebuilt the box and built it stronger, built the port better, extended the port a little bit, gave it a little bit more low frequency range, and slapped in some Oblivion version 2s. And I have been very pleased with how they've been performing. I respect the SQ guys. Yep, 100%. They're cool. I got lots and lots of friends that are SQ guys. Like I said, I keep most of them caged up in the basement, and they beg for freaking ramen noodles. I don't know why they want grape papan and ramen noodles. That's all they want to eat. All they want. And the hookers eat anything. You can throw Big Macs at them and they'll fight over them. They'll fight over the Big Macs. But, free air. I said, being an SQ guy, that was extremely funny. I have fun, man. I'm all about fun. If you're too, stuck up to have fun, man, your life must suck. Come on. Be goofy sometimes. Laugh about it. Isn't it baffled? I'd hate to see 15 12s free air at 2K each. That would be cool. It would be very, very deep and very windy, as free air does get really windy. The only thing I don't like about free air in a car is that when you roll the window down, you completely change everything. When you open the trunk, you completely change everything. Whatever you do in the car changes the whole setup. So it's a really wonky thing. But when everything is right, it sounds really good. Very good. Transients are really good. What if you put a bass shaker on a 24-inch passive radiator? I don't know, man. That sounds like some straight up crazy mad scientist stuff. Am I going to have to put you in the cage? If you're going to go in the cage, I'm going to put you in the cage in the basement, Debbie. I mean, sub Dynaman, excuse me. I'd have to look that up, man. There's some comparison charts out there to give you square inch per square inch. So that's pretty much what you're looking at, is square inches versus square inches. I think it would be like you're comparing them to an 18. It's probably going to be, just guessing, it's probably going to be like 3. I want to say, my brain is telling me, and it's probably not the right number. I want to say it's like 70 versus 200. So yeah, I think it's maybe 3. I could be wrong though, but it's easy to look that chart up on the internet and find that out. So oh shit, they're still talking about free air. I'll catch up to you guys here in a minute. It's a free air is what we used to look for when our tires were low. See, I come from a time, man, where that shit didn't exist. You couldn't put a quarter in a machine and get air. That didn't exist. If you wanted air in your tire and you were out on the road, you had to find a tire shop. where they fixed flats and they had the hose, and then they would come out and air your shit up. You couldn't get air at a gas station. Nobody had air at gas stations. That didn't exist. And if by some weird, crazy, remarkable chance you did find one, it was a compressor that you had to go turn on with a switch and a coiled up hose that you drug out to your car and aired it up. And then if you were a good person, you coiled it back up and put it back and turned the switch back off. That was extremely rare, though. Usually on a mom and pop spot. But also, most gas stations back when I was young had a tire repair shop attached to them. So you guys don't know about all this stuff. Everything's changed, man. Still do, Stu. Paper. He made that shit perfectly clear, y'all. Pay attention. It's better to use high paper, small sub, and a horn type box to match the larger sub. If you're just going cone area to cone area, it's kind of pointless. But there's a lot that goes into understanding. Agreed, 100%. So much, but I that's such a deep rabbit hole that it deserves its own video. That's an extremely deep rabbit hole. The comparison. Oh. Hyper focused. When I went to bed, I'm going to bed, Troy said. This has been a while ago. Shit, I'm way behind. You guys are going, man. Damn, that Cadillac Thunder song sounded so clean in my shower speakers. Yeah, that drops, in case you wanted to know, man, that's 38 hertz on one of the drops and then 30 hertz on the other. So it's 38, 30, 38, 30, 38, 30. So if your shower speakers were reproducing that bottom, they were handling 30 hertz. Nighttime, nightshade. More base like 3.5 cubic feet, always need bigger boxes. So it's better to run a 12-inch and a 2.5, or like Mini said, go bigger for more bass. Bigger for more bass on less power. Always run the smaller size that they recommend for the maximum power. If you're running high power, smaller box. Low power, larger box. If you run high power on larger box, you bottom out your voice coil and you destroy your subwoofer. So your options. Yeah, you haven't heard that name in years. Isn't free air a subwoofer being played without anything at all, though? Yeah, I was referring to Infinite Baffle. You hush. Jeez, Dubby. I'm going to hire a whole freaking gang of kangaroos to come to your house and kick your ass. You're going to open the door, and there's going to be some thug kangaroo standing there with a cigar saying, I was hired to kick your ass. Prepare for damage. And you're going to have to put them up, and he's going to bust your shit. The FS, the sub is 25 hertz. Got you. Looking for your channel now. Sub and comment. Let's see here. Can I run a 250 amp fuse 0 gauge? What are we asking here? Junebug says, can I run 250 fuse on a 0 gauge wire OFC? Sure. But that length of a wire, if it's oxygen free copper, and you said OC, so 16 feet, you can easily handle 350 amps on that. But you can run a smaller fuse. You just don't want a fuse bigger than what the wire can safely contain. So if you're fusing the wire, you can fuse it bigger or smaller, as long as your amp's not going to pull so much power that it's going to blow your fuse. We could run a 10 amp fuse on there if you want to. But typically you fuse the wire for what its capacity is. And the capacity is determined by the gauge, the thickness, and the length. So yeah, 250 amps, 350 amps are all totally suitable fusing areas for that piece of wire. Full service gas stations for tire shop next door. Hell yeah. I had that sub laying around for over a year before I built the box for it. Let's see here. Studying acoustic impedance subwoofer to the air. I feel like that's why larger subs seem to be much more efficient at creating low frequencies. It's a very good observation, and I agree. Even whenever you're considering lots of little speakers. But I think whenever you have multiple cones, I don't think the speakers are always totally in sync with each other. And I think that the more cones you have, the more variances you have in how each driver performs, and that can actually kind of muddy the sound up a little, I think. And so that running less drivers with big cones tends to give you a more clean sound output. I think it sounds better. That's, again, a personal opinion up to this point. I do not know if there's any credibility to it, but I agree with you. So I don't know why exactly I agree with you, because by all the rules of the road, it should, square inches should be square inches. Keeping excursion in mind, and the fact that you may have to put more power on multiple subs to get the same effect, all that out of the window. Just the square inches thing, I think that is true. I just don't know for sure why. Free air stuff is crazy, dude. But yeah. Because the sub builder here, free air his subs after repairs. Free airs his subs after repairs. Yeah. That's just a test to make sure there's no mechanical noise and stuff. But what we're talking about was infinite baffle, which is different than free air. I just said free air. Sorry, my bad. What about no fuse? No fuse is totally fine. As long as nothing grounds out, everything will be just fine. 22 caliber bullet for fuse. That works. I've used them. I've done that. Yeah. Not only have I done it with the shell casing, but I have done it with a live round before. Because I'm an idiot. I'm the same guy that stuck my finger in the light socket multiple times because I wondered if it would do it again. I'm an idiot. You guys all know that I'm an idiot. Well, guys, we have gone on for almost 3.5 hours. It is definitely time to get the duck out of here. So y'all have an amazing night. And I'm probably going to be on Sunday night. I don't know yet. Sunday's an if, a maybe this week. But I will definitely be on next Friday night. And of course, I upload videos all the time. If you are watching this as a recorded video after the live, leave your questions down below and somebody will try to answer them for you. We will do our best. And if it won't be me, it'll be somebody else in our community that knows how to answer that question. You guys remember to be nice to people, show love to everyone you meet, because the nice starts with you. It doesn't start with everybody else. It starts with you. And let's have a good night and get the duck out of here.
Are getting loud, you can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go. Got it shined up for the show. Hours charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. We
we got more at home. Another one bites the dust. Fires are glowing and the amps smoking. Subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming, gotta keep the bass fan. I'm gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go. 20 hertz and floating hair. Sparks are flying, voice cords are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust.